right, good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another night of NGS action. We are in Division C West tonight. My name is Isaacs, and tonight I have, for the first time in season 11, I just looked back to double check, a co-caster. And tonight we have Fujin joining us. How you doing tonight, Fujin?
Hello, hello, hello. Very, actually super happy to be here. I was actually supposed to be casting LaCroix Boys versus somebody that I should probably know. Um, and one of the teams had to forfeit. And just at the last second, like literally probably maybe 3 hours before the game started, I was like, Ice, can I can I come over?
Absolutely. Always down to have other people on the channel. It's absolute blast being able to throw some co-casts in every now and then. If you are new to the channel or if you're a regular, doesn't matter which, make sure you jump over to Fujin's channel. I threw it in on the screen there. Go over there, drop some follows. It does a lot of casting for NGS, probably more than me for sure. I have no idea. I know you're usually like I always get the notifications for your channel. I'm like, oh, I gotta go check out this Fujin cast. It's a lot of fun over there. But
It's actually funny in that I do a lot of casting, but it doesn't ever feel like it. And then I actually see because they put out notifications of who's doing the most casting. I'm like, oh wow, that's my name up high.
yeah, it's kind of I like I said, I'm pretty sure you're always like up there. You and Bankai are like you Bankai and Crush are just like in this three-way race, and the rest of us mere mortals are just like, well, fourth place is kind of fun to fight over. But anyway, jumping. I love how Lubitum is already shouting out fans in the chat. You know, making the joke of the infinite amount of industrial sized fans that are going to be coming and joining us tonight for the series. But tonight we have Cool Cats and Kittens going up against Artemis, two Division C West teams. Looking at the standings, both these teams are in a pretty big fight for positioning. I mean, I just looked at Division C West today. There is 5 points 5 points between the second place team and the ninth place team with 3 weeks to go. That's insane. That is so close.
And of course, the thing to remember about that is the top 8 teams make it into playoffs. And so when the top 9 teams are that close in points, it's a massive just brawl in order to not end up in that ninth place.
Yeah, that's like I had no idea it was so close, but like it is on a razor's edge right now in Division C West. So many of these teams are within fighting chance, and looking for that seeding too. Team Rainbow Strike go little ahead of everybody else, looking pretty nice up at that spot. But they also have a couple more matches played, so it'll be interesting to see how that ends up. But these teams are in the lobby, so let me throw it over the map overview. You guys can see what's going on real quick. So Artemis was the ones that, or sorry, Cool Cats and Kittens were the home team. They got the call, and they called correctly, so they picked first pick, meaning Artemis started off with our bans tonight. They banned away Garden of Terror, Towers of Doom. Meanwhile, Cool Cats and Kittens banned away the Battlefield of Eternity, and Fujin at that point in the pregame lobby was saying how these teams hate the word of in any map, banning away 3 of maps. And then Cool Cats and Kittens had to break that streak and ban Dragonshy rather than Tomb of the Spider Queen. And so Artemis, with the first map pick, are going to send us to Cursed Hollow tonight. I'm going to let the teams know we are ready. And Fujin, you can just kind of take it away from here.
So actually, I think what that really means is that Cool Cats and Kittens are rebels. And as soon as I pointed out that they were about to conform, they said, no, I'm absolutely not going to do that. I refuse. So I think they were really planning on taking out the Tomb of the Spider Queen. But then when I called them out, they were like, oh, I can definitely not do that. So, but going over into Cursed Hollow is one of my favorite maps. It is so different than a lot of the maps we see. It's by far the largest map of the map pool, and normally one where you don't have a double soaker. You end up in a situation where you have to have a 1-3-1 because the only one that can kind of double soak is Malthiel, and he just gets picked off in the middle of rotations all game long.
Yeah, he
So
has that tough time.
I'm really interested to see what they end up doing. Do we have a lot of globals, or will they just try and dominate all 3 lanes and collapse?
Yeah, that's one of the things I really love about, and the fun thing about Cursed Hollow is you always have the X factor plays that could potentially come out. You could see the Lost Vikings if a team member of one of these two teams plays it well. You could see the Abathur coming out if one of these two teams play it, and that, like you mentioned, the global presence. Looking at you, Falstad, since he does have that ban on that level 1 talent, he may not be picked up, but his auto attack build's still pretty good. So there's in that 1-3-1, you also want to make sure you have some sort of strong wave clear or camp clear presence in that 3-man, or somebody to go rotate down into one of your off lanes to let them go pick up camps, especially in the early game, getting those lanes a pushing. And Bankai coming in and say, "What the heck? Fujin is co-casting." Yes, she is trying to catch up with you. You three, we already made this consensus. You, Crush, and Fujin are in a 3-way tie. The rest of us mortals are fighting over 4th place.
To be fair, what's actually happening is that Bankai is running away with it. The
That's
last
true.
official count, he had 40, and Crush and I had 26. I'm just trying to put distance over Crush so I can secure that silver. Because there's no way I can actually cast enough to catch up with Bankai. Although you were mentioning maybe I'll just go crazy with replay casts and just next one comes out I have done 60.
There you go. Just go get a bunch of replay casts, and all of a sudden next week's stats come out, and suddenly Bankai's in a solid 2nd place, and Fujin's up to like 60. But coming out, we see Johanna banned first. One of those champions that has a very good, strong early game and a mid game, and can do some wave clearing of her own in that 3-man. But it looks like Artemis actually missed a ban there.
Either a flex saying we don't care, we can beat all of your heroes, or more likely a last minute change, and then in chat that I actually can't see. I don't know if you were made a referee, but they're like, "Oh, that was totally this hero," but because we're not a referee, we can't see chat.
Oh yeah, no, we're not. I'm just a measly observer, so I can't see anything that's going on in the chat right now. But the teams, sometimes they throw out the gentleman's agreement saying, "What were you gonna ban? We won't play it," kind of deal. But we do see Mephisto getting banned out here as well. I do like the changes that have been made to him, especially with that Durance of Hatred. He seems in a very, very good spot right now in that mage role.
So it does look like we're going to end up with not the Lost Vikings banned, and boom, immediately.
I've called it.
Called
Oh man, the X Factor. I'm so excited. And I had a feeling it was going to be Cool Cats and Kittens if we were going to see Lost Vikings. They play so much fun stuff, but the Vikings come in huge with the amount of global pressure they can put, getting your team that macro advantage. But we do see the Falstad being picked up to respond.
Funny, I did mention that this is a match this is a map that does not let you double soak. Lost Vikings are the exception to that because they can absolutely soak.
Yeah, triple soak. Oh my goodness. And Lucio being picked up as well here, so going to be able to get that 3-man to rotate pretty quickly from top to bottom, or sorry, from mid to bottom or mid to top. Also going to be able to provide, get that speed up for some of these cross map plays that can kind of come out when teams tend to neglect those earlier cursed pickups. Wow, Cassia and Sylvanas, a lot of power coming out, team fight power, burst power coming out from Cool Cats and the Kittens.
I mean, they are planning on fighting 4 into 5 for a lot of these objectives because Lost Vikings are not going to be really able to show up and contribute until pretty late in the game. So they're definitely picking a lot of, okay, we need a lot of power to introduce into these fights, take someone out, make it a 4 versus 4 very quickly. I do have to wonder if we'll see something like a variant or a garage to lock someone down and just explodify them.
Yeah, definitely looking for some heavy lockdown here. I mean, Diablo on a map like Cursed Hollow would be a very terrifying thing to see. But May getting the ban out, not going to be able to see, one again, to that point, one of those champions that can go in and lock down a single target for a pretty significant long time. Also has a lot of playmaking potential with that ice wall on a map like Cursed Hollow, where there's so many angles to be able to cut off individuals and separate teams.
The last ban, I actually really like this ban because Li Ming is definitely the type of hero that your team can soak for a bit and send Li Ming into the area of the tribute and just be like, yeah, just delay them for a while. And Li Ming can absolutely do that because you can't move while you're collecting it.
Well, they're not going to get the Diablo. They got to play against it now coming for Cool Cats Kittens. Artemis picking up the Diablo, matching it up with a Kael'thas, who frankly, is going to suffer a bit to that damage. He's going to have to play pretty safe, wait for the Falstead to come in. But if the side of Cool Cats and Kittens decide that hugs are very welcome, they could be spreading that living bomb time and time again.
Okay, cool cats and kittens, if you do that, I do have to yell at you for a second. We are still in the middle of a pandemic. I know a lot of people have vaccines, but you should not be hugging each other in public.
Muradin gonna get thrown in here. That's, you threw out some other ones, like I was thinking like the Garrosh. I thought possibly the Diablo there, but the Murden, he's still got the lockdown potential, and he could Haymaker Kael'thas back into that Cassian Sylvanas anytime he dare so pleases, and we'll be able to get some nice explosiveness going down onto the Mage. And Stukov being picked up, who I really love a Stukov on the map like Cursed Hollow. Going to be able to put down those silence puddles all over the place for some of these curse fights.
The last pick coming in from Samuro. I really do like Samuro, just in general, but also because once you are able to control your clones, Samuro, he can't quite double soak, but you can send one of his clones running across the map and then swap out with it, so you can end up having pressure in kind of a lane and a half at a time.
All right, who you liking? Which team's looking strong to you right now with these drafts?
I do absolutely think that we're going to have a massive soak lead coming out of the Lost Vikings. The only thing that kind of concerns me, if I had a better tank, I would say Cool Cats and Kittens, no question. I am concerned about the Murden being the tank, especially, yes, you can do the Haymaker and get them back, but the big issue that I have with that is that means you're not going Avatar, and into the other team, I think the Murden will just explode.
Well, yeah, we know that Falstad's going that auto attack. More than likely going to go that auto attack build. So he's going to get that giant killer at 13. Going to be able to shred through this Murden pretty easily.
So I think what's going to happen is we'll have a soak lead coming out of Cool Cats and then a tribute lead coming out of Artemis. I think Artemis ends up taking it, but it could go either way. I do really like the icons coming out of Cool Cats and Kittens, though, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, that's awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's always fun when teams get the synergy going. We got the Lily coming out from the side of Artemis there as well. Looking at these, I mean, I've had the opportunity to cast Cool Cats and Kittens a couple times this season. I think this is the first time I've actually had the chance to cast Artemis. I've been in the same league as them playing, but I've never had the chance to cast them. And so, but knowing Cool Cats and Kittens and their play style, I definitely am interested to see how Crazy for Haruno does. He, does a lot of great things with these champs. But let's get these teams introduced. Fans, start throwing out your flair. On the blue side, we've got Cool Cats and Kittens. We got Beowulf sitting on the Cassia. We got Horvath sitting on that Murden. We got Descolada sitting on that Sylvanas. We got Crazy for Haruno on that Vikings. And we got Lubitum sitting on the Stukov.
The battle begins.
Meanwhile, on the other side, representing Artemis, goddess of the moon on this cursed map, we do have Dark Horse coming out on Falstad, 7 on that Lucio, Ashkan on the Kael'thas, Honestly is Diablo, and then Samuro, the Master of Illusions, is coming out and being played by Jotak.
And look at this right off the bat. We have a very cheese-heavy comp going into the bot lane with this Sylvanas power play. Gonna throw down the arrow and pick up that tower pretty early. So Muro does scout it out. The rest of the team rotating down. Let's see if Diablo can find that pick. He's electing to go on the Vikings first. Maybe not the target he was looking for. Kael'thas missing the gravity lapse. And that will be a tower pickup pretty quickly for the side of Cool Cats and Kittens.
Yep, a nice little experience boost, and also a pushing boost, because one tower does a lot less shots than 2 towers. That's how math works.
Yeah, generally. I see that the math works out in the favor there. But looking at some of these talents, we're going to see lots of Vikings die all over the map in the top lane. That was one of the many that we will see going down here. But looking at some of these talents, I mean, the Cassie's going to have that infinite... Ooh, actually, Lucio making a play, looking like he's trying to get the boop onto Horvath here. Falstad coming in with the W. Kael'thas lands the gravity lapse and finishes off that kill. First blood now officially secured for the side of Artemis.
I will mention, just very quickly, yes, there was... Falstad just did kill a character with a large beard. That was not actually a Viking. I know it can be confusing. That was Muradin.
Cassia going with that infinite scaling Q build coming out at that level 1. Gonna be able to put down some serious punching power there in the late game. Murden trying to get those storm bolts stacked up as much as you can. Vikings, we talked about needing the answer to the camps. Vikings are going to secure that no problem with the bribe coming out on the level 1 talent there. So camp answer pretty much already shown by the side. Ooh, Kel'Thas getting very low here. Murden unfortunately misses a storm bolt, but Cassia able to jump in very aggressively behind the tower and secure that kill. Lubitum tanking a few tower shots for the team.
So we are up to officially 1-to-1 kills. The two Vikings have gone down, but Vikings are each worth a quarter of a kill, so you need 2 more before that actually counts, officially.
Yeah, we're not officially counting these Viking kills. Diablo's trying to pick up that 3rd one, get 3/4 of the way there, unsuccessful onto, gosh, I always forget, is Eric the little one? I think Eric's the little one.
Eric the Swift?
Yes.
My coach has been Metaho, so I have to know all the Vikings' names.
But we got first tribute coming online for both teams. We see the side of Cool Cats and Kittens picking up that camp, getting it late. Most teams typically picking it up early, but they did want to get that early aggression onto the top tower. So the camp will be pushing later in the top lane since the fight is over that objective. It won't give that passive, across the map kind of bonus there. But we do see a fight already breaking out here in the mid. Murden getting hit by that gravity lapse, spreading the living bomb. Lucio actually going in aggressively, misses the boop onto the Murden, so Murden should be able to get away scot-free. Eric trying to channel this fight off, gonna get knocked back by the Diablo here and get his life taken away. Meanwhile, Samuro sitting in the bot lane, gonna go up against the 2 Vikings in the bot lane. Falstad jumping in way deep here, but unfortunately the entire side of Cool Cats and Kittens are zoned off by the Diablo, and Kel'Thas is gonna be able to pick up that first objective pretty easy.
Absolutely. So this is not super surprising. We kind of predicted this, that Artemis would be winning the objectives while the Vikings got the other team ahead in Soap. Although I do have to actually say that's not what's happening. Soap is actually leading the way for Artemis, or at the very least experiences.
Yeah, but look, this top pressure, nobody's answering this. Falstad and Kel'Thas very late. The entire side of Cool Cats and Kittens are pushing heavily, and this top fort is going to go down. Sylvanas getting a nice interrupt from the Lucio, but she does get the Banshees off, able to get herself to safety. Lucio trying to speed everybody up, but they will not be able to catch the rest. And that is a tower picked up at 4 minutes for the side of Cool Cats and Kittens, using the 4-man to be very aggressive with the Sylvanas, while the Vikings say, we got the rest, don't worry about it.
Now, I do have to say, real quick, it looks like level 4 Sylvanas actually took possession, which is not a talent I usually see coming out.
Yeah,
do you have any thoughts on
that? Yeah, I mean, I'm in that same boat as you. I typically don't see the possession being called out here. I'm gonna get a pause, a resume, a pause, a resume, and now a 3rd pause. We got a triple pause, and I think we had a potential disconnect here. So I'll get you guys over to the map real quick so we don't have anybody doing any sneaky scouting. But yeah, now we can talk all we want about possession. Gonna be able to force those enemy minions to fight for Sylvanas' team, getting those 3 charges and storing up 3 charges. So she will be able to turn a lot of these waves in her favor, which with their composition that it looks like they're playing out, it's that heavy 4-man, want to push hard, and the Vikings kind of do everything else. So she'll lose a little bit of the damage, especially with the W talent. She's not going to be able to put down as much single target burst, but they're going to have a lot more siege built into their composition, which on a map like Cursed Hollow, siege is the name of the game if you cannot, or even if you do pick up those tributes. So I like it. We'll see how it works out. We can already see they've gotten 1 fort with that talent picked up already. And looking over real quick, sorry, I'm giving gonna give a couple shout outs here because we're getting a lot of follows all of a sudden. CEC the Ronin, honestly, and ABCD, oh gosh, DMNTD. I don't know how I would say that, but thank you all so much for the follows. Do appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. We're now over the 150 mark. Yay! And enjoy your stay. Lots of HOTS cast on this channel, and I would definitely recommend going over to Fujin's channel as well. Dropping some follows there if you're definitely into the HOTS flair. She's got a lot going on over there as well.
Post the link.
Anyway, sorry. I knew you were in mid-thought, and I interrupted you there for a second. So, oh, there you go. Yeah, she can post all she wants in the chat. But, sorry, I back to the regular scheduled program. Something about possession.
So Well, we were talking about position. I also do want to note it's kind of interesting that they got the top fort, but they did not actually get the Moonwell. So the Moonwell will be available for them up there, and we do have a fight very, very close to it, so that might make a difference in that they don't have to retreat as far, they being Artemis.
Yeah.
But yeah, the position is interesting. It will allow Sylvanas to turn catapults against and kind of build up a very, very nice wave. But it's not going to help them in team fights, which is unusual because with the Vikings, I kind of feel like Sylvanas needs to be very, very, very aggressive into team fights in order to kind of keep things even.
Yeah, it looks like, and from what we've seen, oh, we got some readies coming out. Look like the teams are coming out, but it looks like they're going to be playing this delay kind of style. Not necessarily going in heavy for the team fights, potentially until level 7. When it looks like, just looking at Murden's build right now, this is going to be potentially that Haymaker Murden coming out. Going to go for more of those picks and let the Sylvanas Cassia just burst down that single target rather than trying to win an all-out team fight. So that's going to be this favor of the side of Artemis, is going for those longer, more controlled team fights. It seems it's going to favor them in that style based off the way that Cool Cats and Kittens are building out their talents. But we got readies. Oh, it looks like they're waiting for us. I can throw in my ready, I guess. I can't.
Since we're
I'm
not
an
referees, we
observer.
actually can't.
Yeah, I can't talk to you guys, but we are ready over here. We'll just throw out the readies anyway because we are not referees. See if they get a 6 cents. Oh, they did get it, but they didn't count it down. So getting back into the game, we have this fight developing over this second curse, but both teams doing a bit of a dance right now. Neither one committing to the channel quite yet, but we do see Keltos and Diablo a little low on the health bars right now. But okay, we did have another disconnect coming in. Or maybe there wasn't already there. We get a my B, and now we get another pause coming out. I am not entirely sure what happened there. I do know that Sylvanas did actually go down somehow. It looks like she was trying to get down to the assist the Vikings since the Vikings were still disconnected. Not entirely sure. But it looks like now we've got
Their course does say it spread to our team, so I'm guessing that somebody on the red side actually disconnected.
oh my goodness. It's affecting both teams now. This is just a very, very cruel April's Fool jokes to all of you guys watching right now. That's exactly what this is. Both teams are trolling you.
So here's the big problem actually, is that because of the pause fiesta that happened earlier, they're down to 0 pauses left on 7's side, which is going to be Artemis's side. So if something else happens, they actually can't pause anymore.
That's true. Yep. So hopefully we get these out of the way. Willard, how you doing, dude? Thanks so much for coming in. Hope you're enjoying the show tonight. I do always have to shout you out for coming in, giving out 5 gifted subs during the last stream. I believe it was last stream. Maybe it was a stream before that, but that was absolutely awesome. Everybody out there that did get those subs, hope you're enjoying the emotes. The emotes are definitely on their way, and we're a couple subs away from even more emotes right now that I can throw your way. They're all ready, but getting back into the game, look at that. Fujin's throwing out the Jaina flare. We do see that Falstead being able to pick up the second objective, so that will be 2 objectives in favor of Artemis. And now Cool Cats and Kittens cannot let any more go. They've gotta find a way to fight over some of these. Ooh, Falstead picking off in the bot lane, getting those Vikings. Has a lot of anger. Jason coming in with the raid, of 42. Wow, welcome everybody coming in. Hope you're gonna enjoy this series. We are just getting started in Division C West tonight. My name is Icex. I got Fujin co-casting with me here tonight, and we are in game 1 between Cool Cats and Kittens and Artemis. Cool Cats and Kittens coming out with the Lost Vikings, going for this macro-heavy team comp, but the side of Artemis going in with their globals as well, picking up the Falstad and trying to use the Samuro to just outpress these Vikings here. And so far, a lot of success coming in for Artemis. They're winning a lot of these objectives. This is the 3rd one coming online. The side of Cool Cats and Kittens did get a 4-minute fort in the top lane with the Sylvanas passive, but they've been struggling in a lot of these objective fights, and now they're kind of up against the ropes, needing to secure this one for their team. But 10s are almost online for the sides of Artemis. If they can delay this just a bit, we will have a talent tier advantage, a storm tier advantage for the side of Artemis, and they are there. Diablo going in, and now going to be that bully. We see the Samuro trying to get in, finds the blood, and that will be Murda just getting absolutely shredded there. Everybody's on the retreat, and that is a pickup and probably going to be a curse in favor of Artemis.
Yep, Samura goes ahead and secures that, so we do have the Ravenler's Court Curse dropping over the battlefield. Immediately, we actually do go ahead and have Artemis moving down to get the boss, which I kind of feel like is a bit premature. I feel like you can get a lot more value during the curse and get the boss immediately afterwards, rather than having to push the lanes back, but the decision to make is to see where we're going. Also, Jason, thanks for bringing everyone over. I actually braided my stream into Jason because you weren't alive, so I guess a lot of my viewers are catching up to me now. Hello once again.
Welcome all of Fusion's viewers, but we do see, yes, like you mentioned, the boss pickup was kind of interesting. They did get the bottom fort, so maybe then said they know that the Vikings are going to try and put the pressure in all 3 lanes, so instead of trying to commit to a 3-lane cap and get some pressure going, knowing Sylvanas has that possession, looks like they're just going to try and make an aggressive play on the keep, just kind of force the side of Cool Cats and Kittens to respond to this massive amount of pressure they've built up in the bot lane. This boss is still very, very healthy, and it's a nice 3-man gravity lapse coming out of the Kael'thas onto all 3 backline members. So this is going to be a pretty solid push coming out here. If Diablo can find a pick onto the Stukov, he gets rooted by the boss. Diablo says, that is mine, and that will be Stukov going down. Boss getting the assist there, but the bouncing balls are bouncing all around on the side of Artemis, and the gust coming out of the Falstad to disengage. Boss going to pick up this keep, and so a keep picked up for the side of Artemis, coming out with a very strong early and mid game so far.
Meanwhile, this entire time, Samuro has been moving back and forth between top and mid lane in order to get the experience and not lose fall from behind. It does look like they're going to go ahead and get the mid fort as well.
Yeah, so that's two forts and a keep picked up from the first curse. So that early advantage that we saw picked up by Cool Cats and Kittens with that massive pressure they got with the Sylvanas and Cassia in the early game, pretty much completely negated here, and going to be able to get this massive pressure starting to build up in the bot lane. So really, I mean, this is Artemis's game to lose at this point. We see Cool Cats and Kittens scouting out the boss, maybe starting it off here. They don't know where anybody is yet at this point, don't have the vision, but are going to call the blind Hail Mary play anyway. And now Lucio coming in to scout it out.
Dark Horse moving over. We've got Diablo coming up. I don't think they'll get up here in time to actually stop this, but they may go ahead and get some kills off of it. It's currently 4 versus 5. There is the Dark Horse just barely behind it with that gust, trying to get everyone off of the point.
And it looks like it's just going to be a full disengage. They got what they wanted. Falstad helped with the blowing away of the team members, and they said, you know what? We'll take it. That's considered a win in our book.
We do have Artemis going ahead and cleaning up this boss as it walks through. Obviously, there was no fort at the top lane, so it goes straight to keep wall.
Yeah, look at...
I guess it may have stopped for just a second to kill the moon while it was up there. I'm not positive.
But, I mean, look at this. Even though they've lost a keep and 2 forts, I do like that Cool Cats and Kittens are staying very aggressive on the gas pedal here, being the ones that are still trying to be the aggressors, trying to force these fights. They know they have the Vikings to be able to get that soak in the offlanes. They're not worried about it too much, and they still actually have the experience lead in their favor, despite being down all of this global presence. And they're setting up a beautiful bush gank here. Diablo gonna get baited out by the Vikings and the rest of the team. The mind control lands onto the Lucio. The balls are bouncing, and Lucio trying to get himself away will not successfully. We will see if Cassia falls to this Pyroblast, is able to survive, but Diablo gonna lock down the Murden with the Apocalypse. Murden getting actually flipped away. He doesn't be able to get the Dwarf Toss to safety. Barely misses it, but we got Falstad pretty much out of mana. Kael'thas sitting very low in the mana pool, and Diablo really going to be the one that's going to try and zone everybody off. Going in on the Cassia, trying to get the flip over. Cassia not quite done here. The flying swipes come out, but a beautiful gravity lapse. Unfortunately, Falstad says, I was a little scared for me and Samuro, uses the gust, and that will be all she wrote for that fight. But another pickup by the side of Artemis.
Another curse, 2 more curses, and looks like we'll probably have another fort and keep go down at the very least. That's the big problem that we're having, is that the Vikings are never there for the fights, and so Artemis keeps winning the fight over the curse. But the big thing is, if we can get up to level 20, that's only 5 levels away, then suddenly the Vikings are going to become very, very, very relevant in the team fights, because all of the challenges will be online, and they won't need to be out getting experience anymore. So just because they're losing right now does not mean they're going to lose in the long run.
Yes, and going for that play again at level 10, they are probably going to upgrade that. We'll see what they go with at level 20 if the game gets there, but going with that full revive at level 20, going to be absolutely massive, being able to get everybody to a fight and revive them there. So we'll see how they're going to decide to play this out. But right now, Vikings still on soak duty, experience slightly tipping back in favor of the side of Artemis. We've got another objective. Artemis don't care. They've picked up their third fort. Diablo, Lucio, gonna try and speed boost everybody down. They're checking some bushes as they go, playing it safe. Maybe they will come down to contest this. It looks like they actually will, so we may get another fight for another objective here in the bot lane.
It does look like Kittens gets dismounted by the minions on their way down. That is going to allow Cool Cats and Kittens to set up. But it is a full 4-on-4 fight with some of the Vikings nearby. Not all of them, though. We still do have Baylog back at the home base at the moment.
And Horvath taking a lot of damage. The Gust does actually go out, knocking everybody back. Zukov trying to use those flailing swipes, but Diablo throwing down the APOC. Gets a 2-man stun, but most importantly, he got the Cassia in that stun. Crazy for Haruno, gonna go down on the Vikings as well. Sylvanas did get the Samuro in that fight, but Falstad diving in very aggressively. Actually gets slapped by the Stukov and goes down himself. It looked like he had the Stukov, but Stukov said no. Sylvanas getting some damage down to the Diablo. Cassia getting stunned out, but this could be a turnaround coming in for Cool Cats and Kittens. They finally might have found the fight they were looking for. Sorry, I like to combine words into finally. And Cassia gonna finish off the Diablo. Lucio coming in huge, getting the heal, has that Rejuvenesce. No, he doesn't have Rejuvenesce. Just getting down, a massive heal at critical timing. Kel'Thas will actually go down here. Diablo flipping a Viking over the wall. All Vikings are alive due to that play again, and this is going to be the first pickup by the side of Cool Cats and Kittens.
And they're not finished yet. They're moving in. They're trying to get people. They also going to go ahead and move into this bottom fort while everyone is down. The other thing I want to point out real quick that I just noticed is not surprising, but it's a great play. Kel'Thas is going into the living bomb build, which is extra good when you have 8 targets against you instead of just the normal 5.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna spread. The Vikings are gonna have to micro that positioning very well in some of these team fights if they decide to come join. We do see a boss play starting. Samuro has scouted it out. The rest of the team from Artemis is here, but they do not have Kael'thas. So that is one important thing to note. Lubitum actually throwing everybody away with the flailing swipes. Lucio getting a little bit low, but everybody disengaging. Diablo actually cut off from the rest of his team. He does look like he's trying to pick the fight. The mind control does miss. The APOC going down, catches the Murden, but that is it. Cassia says bye-bye Diablo. The Gust going down to provide the disengage. The Black Souls are there, so Diablo will come back with the Soul Stone, but Samuro gonna go pick up this objective completely uncontested. Cool Cats and Kittens are comfortable trading it out for a boss.
That's exactly the turnaround that I was saying that we might actually see, is that we were going to have Artemis winning the early game because the Vikings were not participating and get the initial curse, but now that the Vikings have started showing up for fights, now that they're less interested in just soaking the entire map, we're starting to see a lot more turnaround when it comes to the actual objectives. We are at 2-1 still in Artemis' favor.
Mind control does catch the Diablo, so that will be Diablo dying again. Not the most tanky person when he has no stones, but he sacrificed himself to secure the boss play. We'll see how that actually plays out. I mean, he probably feels a little comfortable knowing that his team can lose the next curse play and wanted to secure the boss. Had he not done that, it may have been the Murden could have gotten in and interrupted the boss, potentially get a boss steal. So I would say Diablo's pretty comfortable trading his life away there to secure that boss and, you know, just give up this next curse.
Also, that does allow his team to move down and deal with the bottom boss unmolested, because obviously the majority of the enemy team is going to have to deal with this other boss and not actually go down to support that. We do have Olaf down at the next curse turn-in all by themselves. Granted, with play again, even if they get the pick off here, it's not going to be the end of the world.
Yeah, and they are going to get this pick off pretty easily secured, and nobody really is in position. They may be able to channel this off. Stukov's going to try and get there and get some sort of interrupt, but I don't believe he will. I think this is going to be, it is, the next curse going in favor again of the side of Artemis. You know, the side, oh, we do see a fight though. Falstad getting caught out of position here, lands the Gust. Vikings are getting caught out. Diablo diving way in deep, gonna land an APOC, and it hits huge APOC. Unfortunately, nobody's there to follow up. Both Diablo and Falstad get absolutely shredded. Kael'thas now in really bad spot, has the entire team chasing him, gonna take him on a little bit of an adventure first. May actually get away due to the Lucio speed boost. The Vikings are stopping to channel, and so that will be it. So 2 kills coming in favor of Cool Cats and Kittens. I thought with that massive, I think that was like a 7-man, we'll have to go back and count it, 7-man APOC coming out of the Diablo, but just everybody was already disengaged at that point. Falstad had to get himself to safety, and Kael'thas was zoned out, so unfortunate there by the side of Artemis.
That was a really crucial play for the Cool Cats and Kittens, because obviously with the curse coming down, that could be a huge amount of damage coming across the map, but with getting 2 pickoff kills immediately afterwards, it means that Artemis is not really able to be aggressive on the map during this period, which is when they need to be aggressive the most.
Yeah, and we do see this push in the mid lane. They know they have 7 more seconds, and this is what I like to see out of some of these teams. You know, when we cast these higher division teams, they look at these timers and say, we've got seconds, we can still find ways to make some sort of map value instead of going back as a team and just kind of sitting back clearing out waves. They're trying to make a push here and get some sort of value on the map with this minion camp. Everybody is full strength at this point. Samuro sitting down below looking like he's trying to find some way to flank onto this backline, but now the game is kind of starting to slowly, you can feel that momentum slowly shifting to the Cool Cats and Kittens here. They've kind of got everything they want. The lane's pushing. They just have to respond to this bot lane, and I believe now with the 20s, they're going to be looking good in a lot of these team fights. Diablo actually getting caught out here. The double stun going on to Diablo and Falstad, so Diablo going to go down. Falstad is getting that bouncing ball onto him. Kael'thas sitting very low as well. Will Murden land this stun? He doesn't need, yes, he does now need to, but he hits it, hits home. That is 3 kills to none going in favor of the Cool Cats and Kittens.
That was a fantastic bush gank. They were standing just inside it, and as people came around the corner, they just threw that, caught 2 people with the Storm Bolt, and just walked forward and said, hey, guess what? You're not alive anymore.
Yeah, and look at this. We, with the Sylvanas, gonna continue to keep the aggressive play going. Gonna pick up the keep. I don't know if this is gonna be a core call. They do have the Vikings to help tank, so it looks like they are gonna push in, make the core call here. We'll see if Samuro and Lucio, I mean, Samuro can do some crazy things if we can stay alive. The Lucio is gonna be the one, but Gigi's already being popped out. Doesn't look like Samuro is gonna be able to keep everybody alive. And just like that, when it looked like Artemis was just in control of this game, it gets turned on like a switch, and this first game going in favor of the Cool Cats and Kittens. How about that?
That was my contribution. So, very good play. I've got to very hats off if I was wearing a hat towards the Vikings players specifically. Like, they did a very great job of being out on the map for exactly to get the experience they needed in order to keep their team in the game. They kind of had a controlled losing favor for the first part of the game. Lost the entire bottom lane, but they kept together. And the biggest thing I want to say for the Cool Cats and Kittens is that even while they were getting pushed back, they were aggressive. They knew what their battle plan was, and they didn't seem to panic, which not letting the momentum swing against them is kind of what put them back into the game.
Yeah, I definitely, and yeah, we made that, especially that comment after that first curse. You know, it looked like Artemis was in control, but Cool Cats and Kittens, like you said, they had a game plan. They knew what their game plan was, and they continually stayed aggressive, trying to invading a lot of the camps, playing for these bosses, looking for the fights that knew they could eventually start winning. You know, getting the picks that were needed. They eventually, you know, the first few fights, it felt like they just couldn't really connect onto that Falstad and Kael'thas getting the picks. Murden did go for that Avatar instead of going for the Haymaker there, so he got a little bit more tanky since the team was behind, but still seemed to work out. They're able to get those picks. Cassie and Sylvanas able to come in, get some pretty big kills. Sylvanas using the mind control to a very good playmaking potential, and you know, you just kind of started to feel the momentum slowly shifting in favor of the side of Cool Cats and the Kittens. I mean, let me go back to the stats real quick. Cassie put out a respectable amount of damage. Sylvanas, not as much as we typically would expect, but like you mentioned, with a lot of the damage was sacrificed from that level 4 talent pickup, and she went for more of that mind control pick play composition. So doing a lot less with the damage, more with the crowd control and map pressure, which eventually seemed to work out in favor for the Cool Cats and Kittens.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely felt like that there was a window. I don't want to go back and sit here and at the end of the game say this is what you did wrong, but I do have to wonder if taking that boss and giving up so much time during that initial curse ended up hurting the Artemis more than it helped, because I just go back and like the first 20 seconds of the minute long curse was just spent PvEing the boss
Hmm.
and letting the waves get pushed. And I do feel like they could have gotten all three forts instead of the bottom fort and keep, which I don't feel like the bottom fort and keep really helped them at all.
Yeah, I
But
I mean it's hindsight's always those fun things. The most interesting part of this game, or one of the more interesting parts, was I thought they got that successful keep pickup, which I thought was gonna keep bot lane pretty much under control for them. The Vikings were constantly gonna have to be in that bot lane trying to clear out that bot lane pressure. The that second boss pickup from the side of Cool Cats and Kittens turned that fort around, but I didn't expect the win condition to be in the bot lane of all places for the side of Cool Cats and Kittens, just due to the amount of pressure that Artemis put into that bot lane in the early game. But lo and behold, bot lane was the lane that ended up winning it for Cool Cats and Kitten, pushing all the way to the core to finish this game off.
yeah, and we do have game number one going the side of um, Cool Cats and Kittens, as we've said. Looking at the healing numbers real quick, because I always like to give shout outs to the teams that do the best, and I always start with healers because I like my healers. We do have Lubidium. I hope I said that correctly. I have no idea if
Lubeatum.
I did or not.
I only know it
Lubidium
because I've cast this team before, and I literally asked people in chat, okay, if you know how to say it correctly, let me know. So it's Lubidium or Lubidium, I think is how it was. Lubidium.
does slightly win the healing race, 77,000 versus 773,000. Looking over at the DPS, we do have Beowulf leading the way, followed by Kel'Thas. And in to no one's surprise, and if you are surprised by this, you need to learn. You need to like learn the game a bit better. The Lost Vikings do win the experience race.
Yeah. Yeah, that shouldn't be a shock to anybody. I mean, look, even though, it felt like they were getting a couple kills or deaths, sorry, in the early game, they did die, 3 times. So it was, it's 12 deaths overall, 12 plus, between 12 and 16, somewhere in there. Samuro just, yeah, was not able to keep up as much in the later games as he was able to put that pressure on in that early game. I'm a sucker for the talent, so I'm just been sitting here on the talent page looking at all these things. Kael'thas, the build was pretty standard going up till 10, but then like we mentioned, switching over to that level living bomb build in the later games due to the Vikings play coming in there. I'm mostly looking at the Falstad build because that's where I like. And he did go into some of that extra Q damage, sacrificing a little bit of the overall team fight damage to get a little bit of more crowd control slowing potential coming out from the Falls Head, and trying to get a couple more damage on that boomerang, which did get added to his base kit. The boomerang talent now just adding a little bit of extra damage and reducing enemy spell armor, setting up Kael'thas for a little more success as well.
The thing that hurts me the most about this game, and not because I want one team to win, but can you imagine how different that ending of the game would have been if Kel'Thas had been nearby during that 6 or 7 man apocalypse,
Yeah,
where if there'd been a like living bomb in the middle of all of that, and then because they did have level 20, so they did have flamethrower as well.
yeah, that
So would have just hit the entire team, and then bombs would just be going everywhere.
I mean, I was just absolutely impressed by the Diablo getting that APOC, and that's one of the advantages for picking Diablo into a Vikings is every Viking spawns their own, APOC essentially, and so instead of landing 5, now you're hitting 8 of them. You get 8 of them on the ground. It's a little harder to dance around for some teams, and he was able to get that 7 man. It just so happened that Falstad got caught in the rotation, so he lost almost all of his health, had to get himself to safety, and then Murden was jumping in to try and finish the Falstad off and zoned off the Kael'thas. So it was a pretty good play coming in from the Murden as well, being able to zone off not only the Falstad but the Kael'thas. So no follow up was able to be done on to the Diablo's APOC, which was just so beautifully done. I mean, honestly, and I say honestly because that's a player that did it, honestly did such an honestly good job at landing that APOC. several of them actually throughout the game.
Definitely is very, very good at the APOC combo of slamming someone into the wall, hitting APOC, and then flipping them into the APOC. Or actually, I think it's the other way around. You hit APOC, then you charge, then you flip. But very, very, very good execution on that. Um, even though Cool Cats and Kittens did pull it out in game one, this could absolutely easily go to a game three. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, I definitely liked the early game aggression we saw coming out of Artemis. It looked like they definitely had a plan. They were committed to that plan and overall doing it fairly well. But as we said in that early game, if the Vikings can get going and get that soak, this four-man coming out from Cool Cats and Kitten was a fairly strong four-man with the damage they had from the Cassius Sylvanas. If they could get the picks, and that was the big question, if they could find those picks, would they be able to connect them and get those advantages? And they weren't in the early game, but later in the game they found the false set. And mostly, we didn't even mention this. They mostly found a lot of those through just setting up bush ganks and making the opposing team face check into them instead of scouting it out with the kale toss or with the Falstad. Diablo, I think, face checked a bush once, and I believe kale toss or Falstad, I can't remember which one, face checked another one. And the side of Cool Cats and Kittens were able to get those picks a lot easier with that kind of a play.
Oh, absolutely. Also, the Murden did go ahead and take um, the Stormbolt that goes through the first target hits the second, and that definitely set up for some double kills when these face checks would happen.
Getting that passive finish is absolutely huge. We're still waiting. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to throw you guys back over to the map. So those who kind of came in late into that first one due to the Jason raid, you guys can now see what is going on with the series so far. We have bans onto both Garden of Terror, Towers of Doom, and we have bans onto both Battlefield of Eternity and Dragonshire. Cursed Hollow is where we went first. Artemis, they're the ones who get to choose between first pick or map pick. And the maps we have left, I mean, talking about big maps, we've got two big maps still there, but we also have three really, really, well, Volskaya is that medium map, but I consider it a small map just because most of the attention is in that mid and top lane. But three really small maps as well. So we don't have any of those like in between maps like Dragonshire, Garden of Terror, those medium sized maps, Towers of Doom. Those have all been pretty much eliminated. So we got some really small maps and some really big maps. And I did get the invite. The second game is going to go to Tomb of the Spider Queen. So we
So our
did get that
remaining
of.
of map is actually going to be played. I'm astounded.
There you go. We got the last of. I just need to figure out which team. It looks like that was actually picked up by the side of Cool Cats and Kittens. So Artemis now wanting to go with the first pick.
Super sprite. So this is actually the exact opposite of Cursed Hollow. It's interesting because I'm pretty sure I know for a fact Cursed Hollow is the largest map in the map pool, and I actually think Tomb is the smallest.
Yeah. It's I would have to get my measuring tape out between Tomb and Braxis, but one of those two is definitely the smallest. I think you're right though. I think Tomb is just a smidge smaller than Braxis, even though Braxis is the 2-lane map.
So it looks like we're already actually getting ready. So we're going to go into the draft in just a second. The big thing about Tomb is that you need decent team fight, but you also need a lot of map pressure because these spider butts that fall are gained by just clearing the waves very, very quickly. Therefore, you have a lot of emphasis on Joanna. You have a lot of emphasis on characters like Vala or mages like Kel'Thas or Jaina that just do a lot of AoE. Li Ming is not as popular here just because she just has such bad clear.
Right. Yeah, we're looking for a lot. The name of Tomb of the Spider Queen is Wave Clear, getting those lanes pushing in your team's favor as best you can and getting those gems picked up. Since I'm a tank man, I always love dissecting the tank value, but since Artemis gets first pick here, one of the best maps for Diablo is Tomb of the Spider Queen, and I believe honestly did such a good job on the Diablo last game. I'm curious if they're going to try and run it back here. Get that Diablo a second time and send Diablo to his best, in my opinion, best map out of all the maps in the pool this season, and utilize that playmaking potential again here to get some early game pressure like they did in game one. But
Yeah,
there's other champions. Sorry, there's other champions that are. Sorry, I get so focused on Diablo because I love him on this map. But I mean, like Garrosh was available last game, didn't get picked up, but he does amazing things on this map. Um, May did get the ban in game one, but also a very strong champion in this game. But as you said, that Johanna, she got the first ban in the series. We'll see if she gets the first ban again. But a lot of strong champions in the tank pool on a map like this one.
the other thing, because I'm an offlaner, so my expertise comes into the offlane. The interesting thing about the offlane on this map is that this is one of the maps that double soakers do the worst, primarily because it's super small, so the 4-man really does not have any issue going between mid and top. Oh, we're actually going to the draft, so I'll have to hold that thought.
No, you can keep going. We'll keep going. I like it.
So, so there's not really a reason not to have the 4-man, and also because in a lot of other maps, on like Infernal Shrines, you'll have a double soaker double soak while the objective is pushing, and the 4-man support the objective. But on this map, the spiders actually push the lanes back, so your double soaker doesn't have anything to double soak. Because all of them are up with the spiders, and the waves are just getting eliminated in all 3 lanes. So I'm not saying we won't see a Malthael, but I will say Malthael has lower value here, and you're much more likely to see the more engage heavy offlaners. So like Gazlo is very big here. If you have an Artemis is much more desirable here because he has such good clear.
Yeah. And other champions, I noticeably hate going against on maps or seeing the enemy team pick up on Tomb of the Spider Queen, the Thrall and the Ragnaros. Leoric with the Entomb on these small corners, force team fights, which would pair well with the Diablo. But looking into these bans so far, Brightwing, which I think is an interesting pick, but also I think maybe a kind of a we're wanting to pick something. We don't want you to pick Brightwing against it because this isn't necessarily a Brightwing map. So maybe the Diablo is going to be a point of emphasis coming out from Artemis as well. They did ban the May, and we see the Johanna Mephisto being banned out. Same bans coming out of Cool Cats and Kittens, just in a different order. So I'm curious why the Brightwing was banned on this map. The only reason I can think of, I mean, she is a good healer, but I believe they have a plan. They're not necessarily showing the plan yet, but they don't want the polymorph to be a factor in that plan. And Lucio going to be picked up first pick here by Artemis.
Now that Lucio is incredibly telling to me because I actually think this is one of Lucio's not worse, but his less desirable maps because it's so small. The extra move speed is not as necessary. So the fact that we've got him coming out to me says that we're definitely going to go for some sort of pip comp and be jumping between the lanes very, very, very rapidly.
But there you go. Like you said, finding a champion that's heavy with the engage. We've got Sonya being picked up by Cool Cats and Kittens. Great on the wave clear. Great with the engages if she decides to go that leap build. And she's got a Chromie in her back pocket to put down the hurt onto any target she decides to lock down. And Chromie on a small map like this with so many small corridors, going to be able to put down the sands of time, give a lot of value to the team.
On the other side, we do have Diablo coming out, which I'm sure you're just like quivering with excitement.
I am.
You talked about it for so long.
I'm so excited.
And then we also do have the Rainer. Rainer is kind of just A, great clear, and B, I don't think there's a single comp in the game that Rainer goes badly into. He's just so all around good. Like, he may not be the best hero, but he's never a bad pick.
Yeah, he's that consistent champion that you're looking for. But we do see the Rexar getting banned out here. Yeah. So, I mean, I have seen Rexar played quite a bit in the upper divisions on maps like Tomb of the Spider Queen due to the fact that Misha has the ability to cut through some pretty tight corners in Fog of War and commits to that lockdown on top of a target like Diablo who says, I want this target dead. I'm smacking him into the wall. I want the Misha follow up there. Rexar's not necessarily known for Tomb of the Spider Queen, but on Tomb of the, I have seen him being played quite a bit more, so just that fear factor may be in there. Hanzo getting banned out here as well, and now we see the Stukov and the Garrosh. So both champions tanks that I thought are just excellent at a map like Tomb of the Spider Queen being picked up, one on each side, and now we'll see. My spidey senses are like, are we going to see Leoric? Are we going to see Leoric here?
I'm actually really, really excited. Where the big problem you have is that whoever you pick for your offlane has to go against Sonya, and Sonya is one of the best. Um, it's interesting. The counter picks to Sonya are often ranged, so you almost. I almost wonder if we'll see Dark Horse go to that. We do have the Leoric. You completely called it.
Yes!
Congratulations.
Haha! But we get the Li Ming too. So the Li Ming, this to me, and I got to give Dax credit for this one, is the easy bake oven composition where we probably will see the APOC instead of the lightning breath come out of Diablo, but Leoric gonna put up that entomb, APOC gonna go off, and Li Ming just gonna throw that laser right down the pipe and try and burn every target that Leoric says these guys need to go down. Tychus picked up to round out the composition from Cool Cats and Kittens. Loving both these teams. I definitely like the plan coming out of Artemis here. Gonna be able to put that Chromie down if she steps one little toe out of line, as well as the Stukov and the Tychus.
So yeah, looking at it's interesting in that I kind of like Cool Cats and Kittens comp a bit more, but when I actually sit down and look at it, they've got Sonya for clear, and then that's about it. Like, Tychus isn't the best at clear. Chromie is certainly not the best. Garrosh really shouldn't even use his abilities on the wave at all. And Stukov is not amazing. It's not that they're bad, but then on the other side, you've got Leoric and Raynor.
Yeah. Yeah, overall, I'm going to be curious. I think it's going to, I personally think it's going to bounce. I mean, the Sonya Leoric, I wish this game would allow, like, we could have two screens going at once. I got to figure out a way to like this because I really want to watch this bottom lane matchup between Sonya and Leoric. Typically Leoric can have a little bit of the upper hand since he gets that life drain, but Sonya can also put down a serious beating. So I consider this more of a skill matchup than anything else. But we have finally loaded. We are in the game. Let's get these teams introduced. On the blue side, we have Beowulf sitting on the Tychus, Horvath sitting on the Garrosh. We got Descolada on the Chromie, Lubidium on the Stukov, and Crazy for Haruno sitting on that Sonya.
Well, on the other side, representing Artemis, we do go ahead and have Seven playing the Lucio. Diablo is honestly being played by Honestly. Leoric on the Jotak on the Leoric, other way around. We do have Ashkan playing Li Ming, and Raynor, the protagonist of StarCraft 2, is coming in on that Dark Horse.
And here we go.
Actually riding horse.
Everybody going into that middle. Chromie going for the Q build, which I love to see. Chromie going to be able to put down a lot of single target burst damage to get some of these picks that Garrosh throws back for their team. Diablo is the first victim, will fall very quickly. Diablo not so tanky in the early game, doesn't have his souls quite stacked up. Tychus and Chromie gonna be able to put a lot of hurt down onto those single targets. Tychus with the minigun, shredding them most of the way down, and then Chromie coming in with those Qs at the end, and it's gonna get even worse once she gets that quest finished. Bankai coming in with the prediction. Where are the predictions? Bankai, I completely forget every single time to throw them up. I definitely need to because I know a lot of people. I'm honestly scared because I think you all are going to get so good at predictions that you're going to get so many points, and I'm going to have like 50,000 people asking to play Storm League with me, and then my wife is going to hate me because I'm going to have to play Storm League all the time.
I will say, it does definitely looks like, I agree with you that the Leoric Sonya is a skill matchup, and so far it's definitely a skill matchup going to Jotak's side. I really, really like Leoric actually went ahead and took Consume Vitality at level 1 instead of, very often you have the one that lets you like heal for 30% of your health every, I want to say it's a minute and a half, I actually forget. But that lets Leoric heal very, very well against the Sonya, and then when you get Spooky Hand, it's great for you. We also do go and have Raynor picking up the Siege Camp, doing some free damage into the wall, and actually Crazy and Beowulf have to come down in order to kind of help out.
Yeah, I mean, this early game, definitely, it's kind of mixed. We've got the Cool Cats and Kittens kind of out-rotating, outplaying, pushing the side of Artemis there, but we do see the Leoric having a fairly good time here in the bot lane due to that talent pickup there. Sonya going for that Seismic Blow build, gonna try and get as much damage, single target damage down as she can, but Garrosh you know, outside of that pick on the Diablo, not having a lot of success finding some of these picks so far.
Trying to move in, but the nice thing about Artemis's comp is that Lucio gives them the. That's one of the things I kind of worry about because Garage needs to walk forward and throw people, and the other team is made up of Lucio, which just lets you maneuver around Garage so effectively.
Yeah, this Lucio, I mean, just watching Seven jump around on these walls and getting this team into better positioning is super great to see. Like, Lucio, a good Lucio. Ooh, Chromie did find the Lucio in the time stop, though. So, honestly, going to take some beating not having his speed boost nearby, and Tyke is going to be able to punish that, get the kill onto the Diablo. Nice time stop by the Chromie to make sure Lucio couldn't get Diablo out of a sticky situation, and that's a second kill going over to Cool Cats and Kittens.
Absolutely, and so Diablo has now the thing is Diablo's the only one they seem to be able to catch up on, and as Diablo gets more and more souls, that's going to become less and less effective until it does 100, and then we kind of reset the cycle.
Here we go.
We actually do have the web weavers for Cool Cats and Kittens turned in, opposite of previous map where we had Artemis getting all of the objectives. We actually have the first one and the lane clear being pushed out by Cool Cats and Kittens, and level 7 is also picked up by them.
Yeah, this is going to be, they have a window of about 20 seconds here. Maybe not that long, maybe about 15. Let's see if they can make a play with their level 7 talent tiers and the advantage with the objective on their map. It is going to be a very small window, but they do find the Garrosh if they can get him. Unfortunately, that was a minion, not the Lord of Terror. I know it's hard to not, you know, confuse the two, but that will be the 7s now being picked up by the side of Artemis. We do see the Spider getting some pretty good value here in the mid lane. Top hasn't been addressed at all yet. It's going to get a nice good push with the minions being spawned, and more importantly, going to be denying a lot of experience for the side of Artemis.
But Leoric does go ahead and hunt down that Sonya. As I said, this was a matchup that Leoric was winning thus far, and we definitely continue to see that as Sonya moved in very, very aggressively to try and help out that web weaver. Got hit by the Drain Hope, but actually now the Leoric is being pounced upon by everyone. Actually, I'm not going to try and say who it is because it's everybody. Does put a oh, actually manages to dodge the grenade. Amazing.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that grenade hits. That's a kill. So that was pretty good dancing shoes by the Leoric there. But, I mean, look at Diablo's still sitting at 70 souls. Being in that 4-man, at 5 minutes, I'd expect him to have it done by now. But then again, he has died twice, so he does miss a little bit of time picking up some extra souls. We'll see if he's able to get those finished off here rather quickly, and then become that tanky Lord of Terror that we saw in Game 1, making plays for his team and find a way to get the Artemis back in here. But we do see Artemis finishing off the objective here, gonna get those gems turned in, gonna try and turn this map around back in their favor, have a fort down in the bot lane, gonna look to find something else somewhere on the map.
So it does look like Raynor is pushing in out the bottom right now, while everyone else is concentrated on the middle lane. I think all 5 members of Cool Cats and Kittens are also in the middle lane, just trying to make sure this doesn't happen. So once again, we actually have top lane being ignored by both teams right as the web weavers come out.
Yeah, we do see Garrosh. Garrosh still trying to be that aggressive champion, but Diablo does land the stun, doesn't quite land the flip. Flip is down, and Garrosh throwing Diablo away, saying, get away. Garrosh getting that extra armor, the more health he is missing. We need the Li Ming to find that corner and finish the Garrosh off. But Garrosh going to get himself to safety. Mid is now no longer siegeable. Bot sitting at about half health on the web weaver right now, so that is more than likely going to be the next position to siege up here for the side of Artemis. 10s are online for Cool Cats and Kittens. We got the Sands coming out from Chromie. We got the Warlord's Challenge from the Garrosh. We've got the Shove, the massive Shove coming out of Stukov here in the Tomb of the Spider Queen. Interesting choice. And then we're still waiting on the Tychus and the Sonya, but we see an engage. APOC and Entomb all going down, but Sonya able to spin her way to win, gets herself out, and now the Odin being popped by the Tychus, gonna get himself in, try to find everything. I still got a question mark on the Sonya, but we did see her leap away. It must be a bug. I mean, I don't think I'm hallucinating here. I definitely saw a leap come out.
I didn't actually notice because I wasn't watching the Sonya, but yeah, I also saw the question mark on the Sonya, which is I won't say a bit unusual. It's very unusual.
Or maybe it wasn't Lee. Maybe Garrosh. Maybe it was the Garrosh that got in and threw her. And now that I'm thinking about it, it could be possible. I thought I heard the chant, like, you know, the infamous Sonya, Hiya! But it wasn't Leap. It was the Garrosh. And Sonya now picks up Wrath of the Berserker. We did see it picked up. So I am just blind as a bat, like Mal'Ganis. And we do see all ultimates being picked up by the side of Cool Cats and Kittens. Meanwhile, on the side of Artemis, you've seen a few come out already. Sound Barrier by the Lucio, APOC by the Diablo, Entomb coming out of that Leoric. Wave of Disruption coming out from the Li Ming, and the Hyperion being picked up by Raynor.
More damage done on the side of Cool Cats and Kittens with 1 wave each. However, the bottom keep is just about to go down, but the bottom keep on the side of Artemis and the middle keep are actually down already, and we do have turn-in just about ready for both teams. Currently, it does look like Cool Cats and Kittens are prioritizing actually getting their gyms in. Rainer's kind of scouting that out at the moment.
And we get a camp pickup too. Nice camp pickup. And the thing I like so far about Cool Cats and Kittens, we talked about it in game 1, their aggressiveness on the camps was their pretty much one of the things we really noticed and highlighted in game 1. And here in game 2, look at this. They've got both bruiser camps. They're still being aggressive on all of these camps, picking up all 3 camps here in this mid game. We do see Artemis trying to get the gem, sneaky gem turn in, but unfortunately Leoric's sitting on a big payday, not going to be able to get those gems turned in safely. We see the Sonya being very aggressive, stands at time, catches Diablo getting the APOC off for, you know, just a little bit of luck there, but a 3-man Warlord challenge being put down by the Garrosh. That will be a dead Lucio. Li Ming gonna be no assistance at almost 0 health, and that is 2 kills being picked up by the side of Cool Cats and Kittens.
Even more relevantly is that obviously one of those kills was at 100 souls, which means Diablo's going to be very vulnerable again, or until he can get those souls back. And we did see Diablo go down several times until he gets stacked before, so that's bad. We now do go ahead and have Cool Cats and Kittens say, you know what, there's a camp on this map that's still white and it's not blue, let's fix that.
Yeah, securing the boss, a 9-minute boss with the top fort still alive. Big plays coming out of Cool Cats and Kittens. They're going to get this objective turn in, and this is a massive power play with the 13 talent tier advantage. The boss and the Web Weavers all coming in. This is huge play coming out from the side of Cool Cats and Kittens.
I do have to wonder, this is a bit of a what are we talking about? But are we going to have the Garrosh throwing the Sonya in, and so the Sonya can Wrath, so it kind of gets both ults at once?
I mean, we absolutely could see some crazy... They definitely shown that aggression is their strategy. They like being the ones that are picking these fights, but they're putting a lot of pressure in this bot lane. Leoric gonna just say, hey guys, defend it as best you can. I'm gonna clear out the other 2 Web Weavers. We may lose a keep. Hopefully that's all we lose. I will make sure the other 2 stay standing. But Raynor actually getting caught by the Garrosh Q there, gets himself away due to the fact that he's got that adrenaline stim pack, and this keep is not long for this world.
Going down in top lane against Cool Cats and Kittens, it does look like we've got a very concentrated defense. Everyone up there except for the Leoric. Leoric is down below, going ahead and taking out the bottom Web Weaver. The middle one already got taken out. So that looks like it's probably the end of the bleeding for the time being. However, we have some aggression coming out. Garrosh being very low, down to about 20% of his health. Honestly, is looking for something, but does not want to run in there. Do not blame them. That is a great zoning, flowing sands coming out in order to just keep them from coming out of that keep.
Ooh, Diablo does find the Sonya. Unfortunately, doesn't commit to the rest of the fights. Everybody was kind of alive. I have to give this shout out. Judo coming in with 102 bits cheer. And I have to say, what a fancy way to cheer for 102 bits. I challenge anybody to beat that. That is just absolutely pretty coming in there with the 102 bits cheer. Thank you so much for the support. Love to see you coming out and supporting our NGS action here. Love I just love everything about Judo. Judo doing so much work for this game and the community for this game. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you enjoy the rest of this series, but we do see a potential engage coming out here. But again, another very aggressive camp still. Lubidium gonna get himself away on Stukov. Diablo jumping all the way in, make sure that the kill is secured there. The APOC going down. Sonya getting caught in that. Actually, it's a 3-man APOC. This is a very good fight for Artemis. Sonya getting thrown away, but not quite enough. The taunt going down, but that will be a 3rd kill. And this is a 3-0 pickup by the side of Artemis. Maybe a little too aggressive from the sides of Cool Cats and Kittens. And that will be a 3-0, evening out the kills in this game. And the experience gain, or sorry, the experience lead pretty much negated now coming out. And we do see now they're rotating for a very aggressive camp invade coming out from the sides of Artemis. Oh, Chromie getting a nice wave of disruption. Lucio, gets the sound. I'm wondering if that was a misclick. I mean, I think he meant to press Q. He pressed sound barrier. Maybe he was just trying to press a preemptive sound barrier to make sure they took the double tower shot. But nonetheless, kill secured onto the Chromie. This now turns into a 4-0 power play. And Artemis melting away this experience lead by the side of Cool Cats. Again, we are even. Steven, objective picked up by Artemis. And look what we have coming here.
Now, Spiders coming across. We also have Mercenaries pushing into all 3 lanes. The real question is going to be where they're going to choose to put their focus during this, because Chromie is going to be back before the Spiders actually hit any of the walls, so it's still going to be a 5-on-5 fight wherever they choose to fight.
Yeah, we do see the Siege being focused here in the mid lane. Leoric said, I got top, don't worry about it. We'll see what this 4-man can do. They found a good fight last time. They had the Leoric rotating down for an Entomb. Diablo's got APOC online. All ultimates are ready to go. Let's see. Oh, Stukov was right there for the pickings. Didn't elect to pull the trigger onto the Stukov. We got the Hyperion zoning everybody off. Tychus pops the Odin, starts putting down some siege damage here in the mid lane, but this keep is gone. Garrosh is caught, but that's not the one you necessarily want to catch there. Garrosh gonna pop the Unstoppable, but does go down. Not enough. Chromie getting picked out by the Diablo, but the Wave of Force actually knocks her away instead of towards. A little bit of mistiming coming out from the Leeming Diablo combo, but that is a kill onto the tank, and the push continues here for Artemis.
Also, the top fort is not long for this world. Is about to be taken out. Does go down almost without the other team even having to show up. They get there just in time to watch it crumble to rubble, and they are moving in on this fort. Now, keep in mind the top fort on the side of Artemis is already down, so even if they get this keep, they're just going to equalize the lanes. They won't really give an advantage necessarily.
That's a huge pick by Diablo. Well done getting the Stukov there, getting the flip, getting the knock back, and that is another staggered death in favor of Artemis, finding these crucial kills here. And Chromie being caught in the Entomb here. She is not going to get away. Diablo securing that kill, and now jumping all the way onto Tychus. Sound barrier goes down, but these are big kills. This is turning into a potential game-ending play. They will get this keep, no problem. Well, maybe not. Maybe I spoke too soon there. Lucio actually getting knocked up, thrown back into the team, does not have the sound barrier, so that is a good pick coming out from the Garrosh. I definitely spoke too soon there. Caster Curse coming in strong, but look at the gems. 81 gems for the side of Artemis to the 24 for the side of Cool Cats and Kittens. Artemis could just go ahead and say, we want a 3rd gem turn in here and keep this game going in their favor.
I like it so much the 3rd time we decided to do it again. Oh,
Yeah.
you see Sonya, and they start moving in, but they're not going to be able to secure the Sonya. They also actually stopped turning in gems for Shy. Never mind, we do have Dark Horse at the bottom finishing it off. And then stopping again.
They're waiting for the Lucio is what I'm feeling. They know the other team does not have the turn-in potential, and they want to have Lucio. I think this is they're saying we're going to try and end this in the top lane on this play. So they're going to rotate down around, try and get Raynor to get this turn-in with the Lucio, and say, guys, let's find the fight in our favor and try to end it here before the 20s come online.
So Lucio is back, and just as you said, as soon as Lucio spawns, they go ahead and also turn in the Web Weavers, or possibly the other way around. And they are all moving up top. We do have Garrosh leading the charge, but actually the rest of the team lagging a little bit behind. This could be very, very bad if they get a pick off. No, it looks like they were harping back, so they're going to come in as a pincer attack.
Damage going down onto the Tychus. The Entomb does land. Diablo going to jump in, but the Unstoppable popped absolutely critical into our Unstoppable from the Odin there. It's going to make sure that he doesn't get stunned by the APOC. So good timing on the Odin from the Tychus. Now being aggressive, turns it around on the Diablo there. And Garrosh going to go ahead and try and find something else. Leeming going to put down some damage. The Hyperion's on everybody off. Keep is picked up there. Raynor going to have to run away. They do not have their front line. Sonya on the hunt now. Garrosh on his mount. Look at that beautiful, majestic pony. Good, but Garrosh actually does get dismounted there, and the hunt is still on. They're chasing him all the the way across the map. They're not going to go address now. They're turning off. They're going to go get this. I was going to say they didn't address this Web Weaver in the middle, but they're going to go finish it off. But keep for keep and eliminated in the top lane. So Artemis, even though they lost the Diablo, who is on his way back now, gonna get the Black Soul Stones to keep him alive, they will have the evened up pressure there in the top lane. So we are pretty much even Steven here. 20's now online. Leoric going for that silence on the buried alive. That's gonna put the silence on the entomb. Gonna make it much harder to get out of that entomb. And everybody kind of just upgrading their ultimates. Raynor going to go for that execute there. But we do have a fight. Diablo teleporting himself away to safety, not wanting to commit, to any fight here. But pretty much, in this caster's humble opinion, next fight is the game.
Absolutely. We do have the top lane exposed for both teams. Diablo is unfortunately still at just 1 soul out of his 100. So very, very, very easily gankable, in all things considered.
Ooh, the shred coming out of the minigun on the Tychus is absolutely brutal. They can't interrupt this Garrosh here. Garrosh going to get that turn-in finish, and this is going to be a Web Weaver phase in favor of Cool Cats and Kittens. We'll see where they decide to push. Are they going to try and finish off this top lane here and try to make a core call? Or are they going to go for the mid lane siege, let the top lane push its way out a little bit? I believe the safer play is going to be the mid lane, and that seems to be where they're rotating now. Going to go down into that mid lane. Bot lane is just a no-go. Look at how far back that poor Spider is. Going to have to walk quite a long ways to have any sort of relevance, but this is where the fight's going to happen. The Entomb does go down. 2 members silence. The APOC going down. That is going to be Tychus and Chromie both getting stunned out, but unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what side you're on, no damage able to follow up due to the zoning potential coming out of the Sonya and the Garrosh there. And so that will be all combos being burnt on the side of Artemis. Meanwhile, Garrosh still looking pretty good with that Warlord's Challenge available. Tychus holding onto the Odin, and they are able to pick up this keep and start putting some serious pressure onto this core.
So yeah, we do have the Web Weaver in top lane still alive and moving in onto that core. Core is getting the paint scratched right now. There is a taunt on the Diablo. He gets his silence and also just doesn't get killed. The best way to silence someone is to kill them, unless they're Uther. Uther cheats.
Uther does cheat, but the big heal coming out, Lucio able to hunt them down. The big Entomb coming out of Leoric, catching both the Tychus and the Chromie. Huge play by Jotak. Gonna secure the kills. 4 for 1. Solid defense coming out of Artemis, and they look like they are saying, screw that last Spider. We're going top lane, and we're gonna finish this game. It's gonna be Sonya versus the 4. We do see a triple key pickup. Lots of minions. It is a base race, ladies and gentlemen. Who will finish it? We have Sonya with Wrath of the Berserker. Leoric actually backing here, so they're not going to have the tank. Lucio's going to take it up. He does have the sound barrier, so Leoric going to try and be that heroic defense. He's going to be able to zone off this Sonya. The core is melting on the side of the side. Oh, so Leoric actually able to successfully do this. Great back. Meanwhile, Dark Horse able to get this keep down. Artemis may have found the play that they were looking for all game, and it looks like this is going to go to a game 3. Raynor pulls out the Hyperion, sound barrier going out, and ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Garrosh cannot finish this off. Game 2 going in favor of Artemis here. Late game heroics by the Leoric. Holy cow.
Where you just threaded the needle, you found exactly the opening you needed in order to turn the game around, and then you just saw the opportunity. You said, we can win if we do this right here, right now, and it absolutely, that is what we saw. That is what happened, and victory was achieved.
Yeah, holy cow. Like, the first game, Cool Cats and Kittens were like on their back foot the whole game, and then suddenly it flipped on a switch and they won. And then game 2, same story, but in reverse. Like, Cool Cats and Kittens were just dominating that game. It looked like Artemis was going to bed early, and then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, they get the double turn in, even up the pressure in the top lane, make the game potentially winning push in the top lane, and then all of a sudden they're up against it. Leoric finds an Entomb, everybody's kind of spread out. I mean, they found the combo they were looking for with the Diablo Leoric, but Sonya and Garrosh did an excellent job zoning off that Li Ming Rainer, so there was no follow-up. You thought, dang, that's it. They tried, they almost had it, but it was gone. And then they're like, you know what? Let's hunker down. Let's get this defense. They found the pick onto the Garrosh with the Li Ming, able to finish him off. And then they found the Stukov pick with the Diablo. Diablo's like, guys, I got him. Killed the Stukov. And then suddenly, Leoric comes out of just left field and finds a two-man entomb onto the Chromie and Tychus, and they're like, round 2, here we go. Finish them both off, and suddenly, 60-second death timers. Let's just go with the 4-man to the top lane and end this game.
And that's absolutely what we saw. It was a fantastic call, fantastic recognition of what was going to happen and what they needed to do. Looking at the stats at the end, because I'm just a statistician, we do have 7 winning against Libidium this time with 97,000 over 87,000 by about 10,000 experience or healing. Experience healing, same thing. Tychus on the Beowulf, or other way around, absolutely shredding through that Diablo, ends up doing 71,000 damage over the course of the game compared to Li Ming's winning damage of 58,000. But keep in mind, Li Ming was on the winning team, so the damage may not actually matter as much as we think it does. And then in terms of experience, Leoric and Raynor, Dark Horse, and Jotak just running away with it, followed by Sonya, not surprising. Lee?
Yeah. I mean, looking through all this, the Li Ming's damage, it wasn't as much as we typically want to see, or not want to see, that we typically see out of a Li Ming player. But Li Ming's damage in this game stuck. It was critical. It was finishing kills left and right, being able to find the Garrosh, being able to find the Tychus and Chromie in those late game team fights. And so it was able to, the damage she put down was definitely the damage that the team needed to be able to finish it off. Definitely helped by the Entomb from the Leoric. That easy bake oven combo didn't necessarily come out. Sorry, Dax, didn't happen this game, but we still saw the effectiveness. Yeah, that's the right word. I think. I don't know. It's late. Of the Diablo Leoric combination coming out there in the late game, and it was absolutely beautiful to see. Again, I'm a sucker for talent, so I'm going to throw it over to the talent page so everybody can look at that. But, I was looking halfway through the game at Artemis's builds, and everything seemed pretty standard for the first half of this game coming out from Artemis. But the Sonya definitely going into that heavy Furious Blow Seismic Slam kind of build there, going for the Ignore Pain at level 20, gonna be able to make sure she's tanky against that Rainer, but the Li Ming was able to put down a lot of hurt there.
Oh, no, absolutely. I'm looking at the talent, see if anything jumps out at me. I do notice that the Leorics, kind of surprisingly, did go again went for the paralyzing rage at level 4, which helped make sure that Sonya couldn't move after getting hit by that, which then let the drain momentum land very, very effectively. And I think is the reason they kept winning against the Sonya, because that is all about dodging the spooky grasp. Usually it's an easier time as Sonya to do that, because usually the Leoric has to take Neo Peasants at 4 in order to be able to double soak, but on this map, you're not really double soaking, so it let Leoric kind of come up to his full potential, and we saw Leoric solo kill Sonya at least twice, maybe 3 times.
Yeah, he definitely got her at the end, but I mean, I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt. Sonya kind of had to make that heroic play there, but for sure in the first 4 minutes or so, he definitely forced Sonya to back at least twice. I may have been a third time there, but I for sure remember counting 2. Leoric definitely was having a lot of early game pressure onto the Sonya, which allowed him to get that soak. It kind of kept Artemis in the game as far as experience goes, The play of the game, I wish I could go highlight it, of that, at least that game, was definitely that comeback fight over the aggressive camp invade that Cool Cats and Kittens made, trying to paint the map blue one more time, and Artemis deciding to make the call to go all in on this one, found the pick onto the Stukov, Diablo jumping over the wall to be able to finish that kill off. And then they were able, Diablo suddenly was behind the entire team, able to zone everybody off, use the APOC, get a 2 or 3 man stun, I can't remember what, and they were able to get a 4-for-0 power play and then get a couple staggered deaths as well onto Cool Cats and Kittens, which ultimately really facilitated their game to get back in and ultimately get this victory here in game 2.
It was such, and here's the big thing to remember is that when that play happened, they actually just evened it didn't even quite even the experience. They were still behind maybe like 3/4 of a level. It evened the kill counter, so they were playing from behind, but so confidently. And so the real thing I would say about both of these teams is that whenever they're put on the back foot, neither of them seem to shake. Very, very often, whenever I'm casting a team, I'll actually see them they'll start being a little bit more impulsive whenever they're not winning and they can't keep it together. But both these teams are just very, very, very well disciplined and apparently played together long enough or just played long enough that they understand where their power spikes are and just keep waiting for the next opportunity.
Yeah. I mean that is something definitely to point out in these game number 1 and 2. Both teams who were literally back up against the wall found a way to scrap themselves back into a game and end up coming and doing the come behind victory here in game 1 and game 2. And I mean that just goes to show how good Division C West, how competitive Division C West is right now. I mean, we made mention before the stream even started on how close these teams are between the number 2 and the number 9 seed. It's like 4 points separate 8 different teams. It's absolutely insane, and we can see exactly why. This is a number 2 team going up. I think Artemis right now currently is in like the 7th seed, maybe 8th seed, or it's in that 6 to 8 range somewhere. I can't exactly pull it up, but they're playing so close. Like both of these teams are like neck and neck in these series, and it's absolutely insane. I'm so excited for the Division C playoffs. Like you don't even know. Like a lot of these other divisions, there's some clear front runners and there's some clear laggers, and then in the middle it's like kind of just eh. But Division C West is just absolutely popping off with all of these teams. Like every team is so competitive in that division. I'm excited to see what happens come playoff time.
Oh, I actually am able to pull it up. And you're right, Artemis is currently in the 7th spot. Now, here's the big thing to talk about, and obviously it won't happen now, but if Artemis had 2-0'd this, they would go from 7 to 2nd because they would both have 17 points, and then Artemis would win the head-to-head. So, would like bump Cool Cats and Kittens down.
That
So now, obviously, like I said, we're 1-1. That's not going to happen. There won't be a domination either way. But it's just so insane to say that the number 7 was threatening to knock the number 2 down. Like, I don't think there's another division you can say that.
I don't know. Like that's insane. Like and that again, that's just I'm really excited for this division. I can't wait to see what happens here in Game 3 because even a 2-1 victory for either of these teams, I mean that'll propel. That may propel. I don't. Maybe they're 3 points back, but that'll at least solidify second place a little more for Cool Cats and Kittens. But Artemis, if they get the 2-1 win, they jump from like 7th to 3rd or 4th, and they are looking really good in their playoff positions going forward and securing themselves a spot in the playoffs because we have no idea who's going to get that number 9 and 10 seed because all these teams are so close. It's going to come down to the wire for all these teams in Division C West.
Yeah, and I'm definitely like it's a bit early to be looking at divisions. We still or the playoffs because we still have 2 more weeks and a lot of shuffling to do. Especially the other thing to remember is that with the flex matches, it does actually look like Artemis has to date played 7 matches of their 11. So when you think about that, you realize they presumably have both of their flex matches to go. Like if they do really, really well, they could actually threaten Team Rainbow Strike Go because Team Rainbow Strike Go has played 9 of their 11 matches. They've only got their 2 weekly matches left. So there's no telling what's going to happen in the coming weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be a exciting finish in Division C West. That is absolutely guaranteed. But ladies and gentlemen, we have our third map finally picked. So the side of Cool Cats and Kittens, since they were the ones who ended up losing the map, got to choose between first pick and map pick, and they wanted the first pick, meaning the side of Artemis got to pick the map. And so far, the story is the team that picks the map ends up losing. We'll see if Artemis can break that streak and get the reverse sweep, but we are going to Brax's Holdout, which is a complete antithesis of a map to these first two. Both of these first two maps are notorious, or not notorious, but definitely are known for being competitive, can kind of go back and forth, but Braxis, kind of one of those maps like Hanamura Temple, where once you get your foot on the gas, it's hard to let up, and this can quickly turn into a steamroll. Braxis usually can have some maps that turn into the shortest victories that you will see in Heroes of the Storm. I don't think, with how even these two teams are, that we are going to see that here, but there's always that possibility that it could just turn into an absolute steamroll very quickly with those Zerg waves.
Now, the big thing to remember is that this map, like Dragonshire, is one of the ones where the offlane is the most important. So, to a certain degree, picking this map is a super power play because when you pick the map, your other team gets first pick, which means you necessarily gets last pick, which means you can necessarily make sure that your offlaner has a favorable matchup. And if you can control one of the 2 points with impurity, and it's super obvious when the other team leaves that you can make sure that you always have one of the beacons. So it's really, really, really interesting. I have the one thing that I'm worried about for Cool Cats and Kittens is that in that last series, Leoric definitely had the upper hand over the Sonya. I don't know if that's matchup specific, but if it is, or if it isn't, this could be a very, very rough map for them. But I feel like the fact that they chose it is going to mean that actually they took first pick.
Yeah, they did. They got first pick, Cool Cats and Kittens.
So that actually means the fact that Artemis has come to this map means that they are confident that they can win the offlane. And that could be very, very scary. But it looks like we're going to the match right now. Let's go ahead and see what happens.
So there is a couple of things also to note. There was a Rexar ban in that game number 2, suggesting that maybe there is a player that plays Rexar who is very, very good on a map like Braxis Holdout and can give Leoric a little bit more trouble than the Sonya pick. There's also the potential for a Cho'Gall. I never want to leave Cho'Gall out, and I know Cool Cats and Kittens play Cho'Gall. I don't know if Artemis does, but there's so many different possibilities. Typically what we're going to see is that strong 4-man with a tank that is very, very good at holding point. And once again, Johanna getting eliminated in these first bans. Not going to see an appearance at all in this series. Pretty standard stuff. Brightwing actually getting banned out in here game 2. And now this makes a little more sense due to the map. You know, I didn't like it in game 2. Unless it was for the team comp, but Brightwing getting banned out here in game 3 makes a little more sense, being able to teleport and give your offlaner a little bit of a boost there. And Vikings actually getting banned out as well.
That's extremely strange. Vikings are, I mean, you can actually 3-man Vikings in one lane, and they can kind of almost be an offlaner by themselves. But I don't. What?
Well, the one thing Vikings does do on Braxis is it does give your 4-man the ability to rotate around and grab camps earlier than expected, and also be very aggressive on the invades. So it's not great for point control necessarily, but we did see Mephisto getting banned in the first rotation in games 1 and 2. Didn't get banned in the first rotation here. Hanzo getting banned out instead, and Mephisto instantly locked by Beowulf here.
If I remember correctly, weren't Cool Cats and Kittens the ones that kept banning Mephisto?
I believe they were. Yes, I believe they were, and they elected to go with pick up the Mephisto themselves. But there we go. Chromie stolen away. Rexar is picked up by Jotak.
Now that's very, very interesting to me. I'm not sure why you would pick Rexar up this early, because that gives your opponent the opportunities to pick an offlaner into Rexar. Now, it may just be that, because Rexar kind of has favorable matchups against everyone except Deathwing and Orphea. So that may just be that they don't have a Deathwing or Orphea player, so you don't even care. But still, you don't lose anything by holding the Rexar until later and making sure.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of potentially is they were worried about a steal or a potential ban in this second phase. The Rexar ban could have come out in this second phase, and so they wanted to grab it and secure it when they could. And Jotak feeling very comfortable on that Rexar, but Sonya getting banned out, which again is interesting since Rexar can bully Sonya around pretty well. Sonya can
Absolutely.
beat up Misha um, over the objective point, but she will sacrifice the experience for it. But instead, they want to say, we saw your Sonya, we know you can play it, bring something else out, let's see if you can go against my Rexar with something we haven't seen quite yet. And Diablo finally getting the ban, showed up game 1 and 2 by Honestly. Honestly is going to have to show up with something else.
Very, very curious to see what tank we have coming out because the Diablo isn't around. Because Diablo is very good in this map. The point has a lot of walls all around it.
I'm
So
hoping for a
without that in
Garrosh.
there,
You know,
Garrosh would be amazing.
Mephisto shades in, Garrosh says, get away. We'll see. I don't know if he plays Garrosh. Ooh, it's the Varian Stukov combo. Pulling out the strats from the ages of old, going with that taunt Varian silence from the Stukov. They're going to need some sort of strong auto attack damage to finish this composition off. Looking for maybe that Cassia again, or going with potentially the Raynor as well. Raynor will be able to finish off whatever target Varian decides to say, you are locked down, I want to finish off. Important to note though, the Varian was picked into the Lucio already, so Lucio will have the high 5 available post 10 to negate the taunt coming out of the Varian. And we do see the Sylvanas Dahaka being picked up.
I will say I really dislike Dahaka into Rexar. Rexar wins that matchup super easily. The one advantage Dahaka has is that he can switch lanes very quickly and tilt things, but you're kind of giving up top lane by default because unless maybe Crazy is just the best Dahaka in the world, but that is not a matchup. Dahaka usually has a hard time soloing just about everyone, especially Rexar.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough time in the top lane, but Dahaka will be able to get down to that bottom lane very quick. So maybe they're just banking on the fact that maybe we'll just go in the bot lane, kill the enemy team, and that's how we're going to control the beacons instead of trying to 1v1 there in the top lane. But that is your lineups. Tychus rounding out the composition for Artemis. Looking at these comps, I mean, I like both, but for games 1 and 2, I gave the compositions over to the side of Cool Cats and Kittens. Game 3, I honestly like what I'm seeing out of Artemis here with the draft. I think they have a stronger draft. The Mephisto Sylvanas is definitely going to be able to put down the hurt if everybody on Artemis groups up, and I think they do have the slightly stronger 4-man. But the overall team fight composition coming out of Artemis is definitely stronger, and the offlane advantage definitely in their favor. So it's going to be a very spicy game number 3 to see how these two teams finish off this series. I don't know. Who you liking, Fujin?
Okay, there we finally go. I was looking at a black screen for a while, and I was like, could you please start loading the game so I can remember? I do like Artemis a little bit more than Cool Cats and Kittens, both because, like I said, Rexar kind of owns the top lane, and I do think as long as they coordinate it well, the variant taunt into Tychus and Chromie damage will explode just about anyone on the other side. Even Mei is not going to be able to ice block, and even if she does ice block, the damage coming in is just going to get through that ice block so incredibly quickly. The one advantage that I think Cool Cats and Kittens have is that the Lucio is going to let them rotate very, very quickly and possibly catch their opponents off guard. But if the matchups just go without any sort of trickery, I do think that we have an advantage coming out of Artemis.
Yeah, I see so. But let's quickly get these teams introduced. On the blue side, Cool Cats Kittens. We got Horvath on the Mei, Libidium on that Lucio, Beowulf on the Mephisto, Descolada sitting on that Sylvanas, and up in the top lane, we got Crazy for Haruno on the Dahaka.
Well, looking at our red team coming in from Artemis, we have Varian being played by Honestly. 7 coming in on Stukov once again. Jotak on my favorite hero, Rexar. Dark Horse is playing the Tychus, and Chromie, the Dragon of Sand, is coming in and being played by Ashkan.
Interesting, but all three members kind of rotating up to protect the camp, maybe looking for a cheeky invade play, trying to catch them in a rotation there. But Varian, you know, notoriously weak in the level 1 to 4 range, getting abused here in the early game. Lucio catching a nice sound barrier, or sorry, not sound barrier, Q, to be able to knock back the Varian and make sure the damage is put down. Varian already having to drink from the health fountain there. And Sylvanas putting down some serious damage onto this wall.
Yeah, my team always refers to a level sub 4 Varian as a cute minion.
Ooh, in the top lane, Dahaka getting absolutely crushed here. Rexar being very aggressive. Crazy for Aruno. Actually landing the tongue onto Rexar. Rexar gonna go down in the top lane. Huge licky tongue coming out from the side of Cool Cats again. Sorry, the Dahaka player there. Able to bait the Rexar in a little too aggressively and picks up the first blood.
That's very impressive. I think the Rexar was thinking about the same way I did. And like, I've got this one. This is my lane. It's not an issue. And yeah, if you get Rexar too close to Dahaka, Dahaka can absolutely kill you. But it looks like Tychus is going to get the counter kill at the bottom lane, taking down the Mephisto.
I gotta throw out the highlighted message here. CC Ronan coming in saying, kick their ass, CCK, going in with the highlighted message. So we got a couple CCK fans going loud and proud here in the chat right now. Love to see it. Absolutely love the fan support coming out. But for the 42% picked up by the side of Cool Cats and Kittens, in comes Artemis, catching both beacons and getting 24% of their own. And now we see this fight starting to develop over the bot lane. Varian not quite past that AI bot stage yet. Gonna get there in a couple seconds, and then we'll get that taunt, and suddenly we'll see a much different play coming out of Honestly here.
Yep, Varian is now a real boy. They are going to get the beacon progress once again.
Sylvanas.
Dahaka is having a very hard time actually getting Misha off of that point.
Yeah, and as expected, you know, outside of the very good counterplay coming out of the Dahaka having a rough time there in the top lane. Rexar just very difficult to go up against. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Varian was able to catch the Sylvanas earlier, but Chromie unfortunately hitting a couple minions with the Q instead of the Sylvanas, and so they weren't able to secure that kill. Varian on the hunt yet again, has the taunt available, looking for that juicy target to be able to blow up, and he finds it onto the Mei. Chromie lands the Q, but the passive pop. The silence actually providing a lot of damage. Mei sitting oh so low, but able to get herself away, and Lucio there for the assist, giving everybody the escort out. But this bottom beacon gonna be channeled for the side of Artemis, and that will be the first Zerg wave being picked up. Gonna be a strong push here in the bot lane.
Now, I do have to point out real quick that the Dahaka did go for Hero Stalker at level 4. Something that gives you more essence whenever you get takedowns and whenever you hit people with your Dark Swarm, but not the extra essence from minions. Definitely a very confident talent.
Yeah, interesting to note, the entire side of Artemis, except for the Varian, recalled. So they went back to heal when the objective came online, meaning absolutely no value was gained. And Chromie actually getting picked off here in the bot lane. So not only did they not push with the Zerg wave, but they lost the Chromie as well, electing to rotate up into this top lane, maybe get even more advantage. Dukov going to be here to give the alley-oop to the Rexar, but Dahaka going to have something to say about that. Lands the Licky Tongue yet again and catches the Misha and gets another kill going in their team's favor.
I mean, to be fair, Misha is like a Viking where she counts as 1/4 of a kill, but still it is experience and it's worth doing.
Yeah, getting that level 7 advantage for the side of Cool Cats and Kittens. So as much as Dahaka's getting bullied around in this top lane, he's getting some pretty crucial Licky Tongues, able to get the team in. You know, he got one on the Rexar and one on the Misha so far, and now going to go back and see if he can find something else.
Oh, that's okay. That the level 4 now makes a lot more sense because Misha just counts as a hero. So being able to kill it does give them the Rexar bonus, and also if you can arrange it just right with Dark Swarm seeing both Misha and Rexar, you're getting double the essence from it.
But we do see Sylvanas rotating up, maybe going to try to make a play onto the Rexar. The Licky Tongue was landed, but Sylvanas is going very aggressive with the Banshee, not able to quite finish off the Rexar. Will she get the Misha? Doesn't look like it. Misha able to get herself to safety. Rexar gonna heal up his pet, and everything is gonna go back to normal. But there's a very aggressive push coming out from the Sylvanas and the Dahaka in the top lane. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, the 3-man actually out-bullying the 4-man. Tychus now arriving to the top lane, finishing off the camp. Gonna try and finish the Dahaka. That is going to be a kill secured from the grenade, and that will be Dahaka going down. Kill picked up by Artemis.
I do have to wonder if that's if the Tychus is just like, hey, remember when you sidestepped this with the Leoric? Not this time.
Yeah, exactly. But we do see the time loop being picked up by the Chromie at level 8, catching the Mephisto, and Mephisto gonna get abused here, gonna go down in the bot lane. Great use of the temporal loop coming out from the Chromie, and that is gonna be another kill going in favor of Artemis, who now have evened up the experience yet again here in the mid game.
So looking at this, we do have once again the battle going on between Dahaka and the Rexar. I forgot his name for a second, but then we do actually have Dark Horse moving up. Dark Horse is rotating between these lanes very, very, very aggressively.
Yeah, he's definitely giving up a little pressure in the bot lane to try and get some kills onto this Dahaka, but we see Mephisto rotating up as well, so we're going to have a 3-2 split from both teams here. Misha, the lone survivor on this objective right now, but that is going to be a very dead bear, and Dahaka able to get another kill with the assistance coming in from the Mephisto. And that is going to be the channel starting to be picked up by the side of Cool Cats and Kids, but Chromie landing that temporal loop. Tychus coming in, May able to slide her way to safety there. Stukov getting very low from the aggressive Sylvanas play. Mind control timed absolutely beautifully, and negating the taunt coming out of the variant. So 34% channeled for the side of Cool Cats and Kittens. And now we see the channel coming out for the side of Artemis. May getting taunted out here. Mephisto getting very low in the middle of that silence pool from the Tychus. Odin being popped by Tychus. Sorry, I said Tychus. I meant Stukov with the silence pool. That'd be awesome if Tychus had a silence pool as well. But Tychus able to put down a lot of siege damage here. Mephisto trying to get in and do all that he can to shred down the opposing team. Not able to get much, and this channel objective is still continuing to tick, 84% and rising. Dahaka not able to do anything in the top lane, and the bot lane also being held by the variant. Another pickup. Mephisto, you're coming way, way back. Taunt going down. Mephisto, you are gone, and Lucio getting some sand dumped on his head to finish off that kill.
You have to kill on Misha up the top when Sylvanas went up there in order to help out. He's going to try and hold the Zerg wave back. If there is a 100% Zerg wave moving in, down to 90% already. Dahaka is having to hearth back, he'll probably burrow back into this fight immediately. And here comes Dark Horse and everyone else. That is going to cause Sylvanas to fall back.
Yeah, and this is a huge play coming out from Artemis. Able to find the pick onto the May, making her pop the passive, and then Varian coming in with a big taunt there. They've got a huge Zerg wave. Didn't back this time. Have everybody at pretty healthy health bars. Mana a little low on the Chromie, but everybody else sitting pretty high. Trading off a fort for a fort, but the keep being sieged out. Endurance of Hate being popped. Mind control onto the Varian, but Varian able to pop the protect, get himself to safety. Temporal loop being popped onto, I do not remember, because Lucio high-fived whoever it was, and that means the counter engage is on Stukov. Oh so low. Varian getting there as well. Pops the protect to try and get himself to safety. Will he get away? Sylvanas trying to make sure it doesn't happen. Here comes Dahaka. Doesn't land the Licky Tug because Varian exploded, and now Chromie is the leader of the pack, which is not where Chromie wants to be. She's trying to get to safety, but she will not do so. That is going to be a second kill picked up onto the Chromie. Can Dahaka get one more Licky Tongue onto the Tychus? Kill gonna be picked up, and that is a 3-0 pickup for the side of Cool Cats and Kittens. Now the siege in the top. Will they make a boss call? Unfortunately they can't, because this Guardian somehow is still alive, sieging up the keep.
Hero slain.
So we do have Sylvanas goes ahead and gets yet another kill on Stukov. So they are getting very nice staggered deaths, but unfortunately this is early enough in the game that the death timers are not very long. All of those fairies were absolutely required for that sentence.
Absolutely.
So that it looks like they are not making a boss call. They just want to go ahead and get lane pressure in both lanes. Their Zerg wave did passively go ahead and take out the bottom fort, and they went ahead and took out the top fort all by themselves. Not gonna do it.
But Every team back to doing what we typically do when the Zerg waves aren't online, is pick up those camps. Even Steven, really, I mean, look at this. 6-6, 13-13. Forts for fort. So bottom fort not picked up by the side of Artemis, but they do have an advantage on the keep damage there. So, ooh, we do see Cool Cats Kittens once again living up to their reputation, going for an aggressive camp invade. Mind control on the variant, Endurance of Hate onto the Misha Bear, but that's not enough. Protect being popped by the variant. Will he get himself away? Throws down the taunt as a last-ditch effort. Dahaka in behind enemy lines, gonna go land the Licky Tongue onto the Misha. Misha, you are gone. Yes, she does go down. And so that is a 1.25 kill pickup for the side of Cool Cats and Kittens. They now have the potential to play for this boss, and they started up right away.
I'm starting to think the Cool Cats and Kittens need to change their name to like Cool Cougars and Wildebeests or something, because this is definitely way worse than what my cats ever do to me.
Not as aggressive, that's for sure. But boss being picked up by Cool Cats and Kittens. That will be finished off. Big power play going into the top lane with the siege camp and now the boss camp as well. Meanwhile, siege camp, or I guess I should say, yeah, bruiser camp, believe it's called on this map. Usually I consider it the siege camp, but bruiser camp being picked up in the bot lane. Gonna get cleared out. Siege camp being picked up by Cool Cats and Kittens. Those fire bats, or not fire bats, sorry, hell bats, I believe they're called. Gonna be able to push in the bot lane. Meanwhile, in the top lane, everybody on Artemis being called in for the boss clear. Should be able to clear it off before it provides any real damage, but that's not what they're looking for on the side of Cool Cat Skins. They want control of the beacons and get this Zerg wave in their favor. Taunt landing on the Mephisto. High five being used to get Mephisto out of a sticky situation. Icewall coming in huge on the Rexar. No more Misha control, and Dahaka here for the assistance. Actually caught off a little bit from the rest of the team. Has to walk himself to safety. Thankfully, he could stalk his way through those bushes, get himself a little extra movement speed, and now the counter engage is on. The temporal loop being used on the Mephisto. The high five not used at the right time, so that will be a death onto the Mephisto. Popped a little bit early from the Lucio there, and so that will be a death onto the Mephisto. Big pickup for Artemis there, getting the kill onto the Mephisto due to the Chromie. Interesting that, I mean, you know, I believe Chromie picked up, since she has a little earlier talents, went for the temporal loop first. So, you know, the side of Lucio had to go the high five after that. He saw that shenanigans being picked up.
Absolutely. It does look like we're going to start getting some, we do have Cool Cats and Kittens moving up to the top lane in order to get the beacon. They don't want to let this go. They did actually see that Rexar was down in the bottom lane clearing that up, so they knew that we were at most running to a 4v4.
Yeah, so
they're just trying to go ahead and give Mephisto time to get back, and Mephisto is back, and Mephisto wiggling across the map.
We do see this bot fort being sieged up. Dahaka not here, will be able to just teleport himself into the fight, no problem at all. But Endurance of Hate being channeled does not connect with anybody. Mephisto says, I'm not done, I want to jump all the way in. Is able to get the kill secured on to Misha. Mind control being thrown out onto the Stukov. Varian in deep, lands the taunt, but the high five there does not miss this time. Tychus popping the Odin in the bot lane. The ice wall did end up missing there, so Tychus trying to put down the siege damage. And we'll see everybody, as surprisingly long as this fight has gone, everybody's sitting fairly healthy so far. Dahaka gonna try and get himself burrowed away to safety. Varian didn't pop the taunt, so he has it available. Two-man stun coming out. Tychus using the Odin. Misha gonna get blown up here. Mephisto putting down so much damage under the back line there with the shade being popped, and now Lucio has to get himself to safety. May as well. Dahaka, you're in a pretty deep area and you will go down, but 74% being picked up by Cool Cats and Kittens. We'll see if they can utilize that 74% to get themselves a further advantage.
Now here's the really scary thing about this, is that whichever team actually goes in and gets 100%, or I should say, if Artemis gets 100%, 74 is high enough that that will end the game, so they can't even really push with the Zerg Wave when they get it.
Yeah, they're gonna have to commit to the defense here. They are trying to get this aggressive camp invade. They know on the side of Cool Cats and Kittens that Rexar is not here. He is up in that top lane, so they could potentially look to try and find something, but Rexar is rotating down. This is not when you want to find the fight. Rexar is here. Board's being popped. Varian actually gets exploded, so they did find the kill. Temporal Loop popped by the Chromie. She does not land. The high five does not miss this time. Lucio has gotten that timer down, and that will be a kill picked up by Cool Cats and Kittens. Varian not going to get the map, but 100% channel going in favor of Artemis here for this third Zerg wave.
So, surprisingly, they're actually... neither team is really... Okay, we do actually have Artemis moving up for the defense, and we do have the other... Okay, good. I was very concerned for a second.
Yeah, both teams eventually getting to where they want to go. So I guess actually getting very low there. Look how much damage he took. Thankfully, he's got Stukov as his healer, so Stukov can just hit a button and you're fully, you're back up to half health. But tanking a lot of Zerg shots there. Meanwhile, the side of Cool Cats and Kittens, they're kind of doing the same thing. Just tanking a lot of these Zergs, not wanting to lose a lot of structures for this. Now Misha's doing her rightful job of tanking up these things. And here we are. As expected, I didn't expect Braxis holdout, with the way this series has gone so far, to be that snowball that we typically see on Braxis. We're at 17 minutes for Braxis. That's a pretty long Braxis game. So both these teams very much in it. Very close series going on so far, and we do see Mephisto setting up for it. It looks like he's going to try and get this Shade over the wall and try to cause some sort of damage. Does get it going off, but a 3-man stun by Misha negates any follow-up damage.
Got, it kind of feels like both teams at this point realize that there's so much damage done that a major team fight in one way or the other could end the game, or at the very least could get so much of the channel. Because that's the thing, every single channel has been relatively full on both sides. I think, at times it would be down as low as 30%, but lately they've all been relatively full channels. So you don't end up having an opportunity to really put pressure on your opponent without your opponent also having the luxury of being there to defend it.
Yeah, of note, Stukov is one more W away from finishing off that level 1 quest, Fetid Touch, which will give him that reduced cooldown with the Weighted Pustule, which will allow him to be able to throw out that much more.
It is interesting that the only mercenary camp on the camp right now is the boss, but neither team is really willing to give it to try and get it if the other team is fully up.
Yeah, each team respecting the other team's potential to just absolutely punish a risky play. But here we go. Varian checking the bush. We do see an aggressive rotation coming out from Artemis. They are continuing. They saw the camp come up. They do have the timer. Rexar is using Misha to scout ahead. Mind Control is actually used, so that is a 40-second cooldown being burned by the Sylvanas. I do not know if we'll see Artemis try to play around that 40-second timer. But we do see the side of Cool Cats Kids, even though they have the mind control down, are coming up to this top lane to try and contest and see if they may want to pick a fight here.
Right now, it's interesting to me that Artemis is choosing to withdraw and go to the bottom one, because they do see that the bottom beacon was never picked up, even though they did have that 40-second window where they actually would have had a slight advantage in the team fight. That window is quickly closing as the mind control is back online right about now.
Yeah, both teams now setting up in this bot lane, but neither team pulling the trigger. Artemis do know that they have a very slight experience lead. They do know that this camp is up as well, so will they go aggressive and try and get it, or will they try? I mean, look at the experience. It's pretty much even, Steven. I think both teams are kind of just waiting for the 20 for the fireworks show to begin. Each team trying to get that small window in their favor for the 20s, but the experience is so close. This minion wave is actually going to push in favor of Artemis to get their 20s, but I don't think they're going to have enough time to rotate down and get that 20 play. But we do see Chromie going with that double time loop. Big red button picked up by Tychus. Kill command coming in from the Rexar. The healing beacon, Glory to the Alliance coming in for the Varian. Stukov still holding on. But they do have that slight advantage, and they're looking to hunt, and they're trying to find the play. But 20's now picked up by Cool Cats and Kittens, and here we go. Mimic being picked up by the Mephisto there, and I'll have to hold on because Chromie got picked off here, and Chromie very, very low, gonna try and get herself away. Stukov saying, here you go, have a bunch of health. Misha getting blown up here, but now will they get the counter engage? I mean, Chromie was a sliver away from dying. Stukov coming in with the big, big heal, and now the boss down to about a quarter health. Will take his try and keep this boss a burden, or will he back up? Varian gonna go down and try and channel up. The boss is just not wanting to quit fighting there. Both teams, I mean, it's been such a close series. Both teams, like you, to your point earlier, know the next fight could very well be the game-deciding fight. Each team a little hesitant to pull the trigger right now in fear of throwing this game away when they know that so much is on the line in this Division C West right now. The victor needs that last point to get themselves a much better placement and a better secured position for the playoffs. But looks like the side of Artemis is finally going to try and make that play happen, being aggressive with the cheeky bush gank. Cool Cats and Kittens have scouted it out. They're going to go up and try and clear out this camp, but Rexar going to stun out the Mephisto. May dropping the snowfield, very not able to get himself in. The boars being launched, Dirts of Hate being thrown out. Connects with two members in the backline. Chromie coming in with a huge time stop, but there was no follow-up damage. Chromie giving the assist to the rest of the team, making sure that they didn't have any more Dirts of Hatred spread going on, and it all turns back to even Steven yet again. Lucio actually getting stunned out here by the bear. The mind control misses again, and Chromie catches Lucio in the time stop, but that is going to be it. Varian not pulling the trigger on the Mephisto. And holy cow, both these teams are just super, super scared to be the one to make that mistake. Misha, oh, Lucio gets caught out. Big stun coming in from Misha. That's the burst they needed. Artemis on the aggression. Tychus say, let's go, but forgetting the rest of his team, and is going to get traded out here. So that is a 1-for-1 pickup so far. Mephisto getting channeled back. The high five not going to be able to be popped due to the fact that Lucio is dead. And Mephisto then next to fall. Mind control being popped onto the Varian. Varian looking like he wants to hunt, but Misha getting a third big stun here. May gonna slide herself to safety, and that is ultimately a 2-for-1 pickup in favor of Artemis.
Misha's stun that actually got two people and started the fight was absolutely what you needed. That's the real advantage of having Misha. Misha's death timer does not go up as the game goes on. So even if Misha dies, they're back when you're in that posture phase. It doesn't actually matter that much in the long run. We do actually have Cool Cats moving out, kind of sensing that they must go on boss. They're not going to try and get this boss. They want to go in and try and get some beacon pressure. But the boss is abandoned.
Ooh. Now, boss is picked up, but May abandoned the point, and now she's going to get punished for it. Getting taunted out is interrupted in the middle, and that is going to be a huge temporal loop. She does have her passive available. She went with that second. There it is. Yep. And so she gets to pass it out, but the second temporal loop lands the Lucio here to land the high five. And that is going to be all she wrote. Boss is going to push in the bot lane. We'll see if the side of Artemis gets the double beacon play, starts channeling this off, and get that massive Zerg wave to push in their advantage. Only 22% picked up so far by Cool Cats and Kittens, and they are all in on defending this boss right now. Artemis going to be aggressive on the camps. They know they have the beacons. 4-man picking up this bruiser camp. Tychus trying to solo out the siege camp here in the bot lane. And this is going to be the potential power play coming out for the side of Artemis here.
Go ahead and see like mercenary pressure on every single lane. We are up to 70% on that Zerg wave. We have the attack coming in. Kratos is in the middle of a lot of them. 7 looking very, very low. Even lower. Tychus does not even get the Odin out. And it does look like Sylvanas is on the hunt trying to catch Stukov as Stukov tries to get away. It looks like he will not actually make it. But there is a kill on May on the other side. This fight is everywhere.
This fight was spread out all over the place. Ends up being 2-1 for Cool Cats and Kittens, but there's a huge Zerg wave in the top lane, and they've got a Varian and a Rexar standing in front of the Chromie. So this is still massive push pressure that can be in favor of Cool Cats and Kittens. Ooh, mind control. Unfortunately, it lands onto Misha. So Chromie just got to back herself up. She does have those Qs available. 3 gnomes out onto the map, but everybody else backing up. They know they've got the keep. That's the prize they were looking for. They're going to go clear out this bot lane and use the keep pressure to give themselves a little bit more of an advantage here.
is obviously going to cause some positive tempo pressure going to across the top lane for the entirety of the rest of the game. So that it means that they can't really abandon top lane for any significant amount of time, or their core will start taking damage. Speaking of which, we do have one lone Ultralist that managed to get by. And
Yeah, I have no idea how that ended up happening. But I mean,
the one to get through shields was not a big deal at all.
yeah, that's a big pickup, honestly, for Cool Cats and Kittens, considering they only had 22% of the Zerg wave there. You know, being able to get a keep for a keep pickup, and we are all, I mean, we are literally, well, not literally, almost all even, but here we go. Living up to their entire strategy this series, another aggressive camp invade coming out of Cool Cats and Kittens. Misha getting mind controlled, gonna get sent back into the team. That bear is not long for this world, actually just blown out to oblivion, but the camp is secured by the side of Artemis, getting that siege camp, and importantly, the Dirts of Hatred was also popped. Mind control does connect this time, but Sylvanas, you are so far ahead of the rest of your team that unfortunately you're out of position, and Sylvanas will go down there. That's a big pickup, and now the siege is on. Full steam ahead coming out for Artemis here. They're trying to catch up, but Lucio gonna make sure that doesn't happen, giving everybody a little extra movement speed. The retreat is on. I do not believe, Varian, you will catch up with the team. We'll see if he's able to. Gets dismounted. That's gonna be it, but a pick for the side of Artemis, and that is a 40-second death timer still channeling for Sylvanas.
Yeah, the good and the bad thing about Sylvanas right now is that every time her mind control actually connects, it only has a 10-second cooldown. So she's very, very eager to go forward, get a lot of people with it. It doesn't really matter if you whiff it, or not really whiff it, but if you get Misha with it, because it comes back almost immediately. But exactly like you said, she actually got ahead of the rest of her team, so even though she got someone with it, she just got collapsed upon and destroyed.
Ooh, big ice wall.
A massive 3-person ice wall comes out.
Good shove by the Stu Cup, though. Yeah, our flailing swipe. I apologize. And look at this engage. Like they're counter engaging down the Sylvanas. Sylvanas is now alive. She's getting the call to come in. We'll see if this turns around to Haka. Nice burrow to make sure she doesn't go down to the Chromie there. And this is just all sorts of chaos. Tychus in deep, getting picked off by the Sylvanas there. Varian on the retreat, uses the protect to get himself to safety. Beacons are alive, but that is a pickup. Meanwhile, the core is being absolutely shredded by these siege minions. Down to 47%, 42, and that's going to be it. But that's a big, big pickup on the core by the side of Artemis. They really just need to find a full 5-man strike, and the backdoor potential is definitely alive for the side of Artemis.
The Zerg beacons being channeled, but is picked up almost immediately by Cool Cats and Kittens, making sure that the bottom lane. Now keep in mind that Tygus is still down for another 30 seconds, so Artemis has to be very, very careful. They do have a disadvantage on a full engage.
Yeah, we do see they're playing this map, the rotation game, very well on the side of Artemis. They're gonna continue to try and harass in this bot lane, but Temporal Loop actually landed. Mephisto, you don't have Lucio here, and this is gonna be a kill on the Mephisto, maybe getting a bit aggressive, not respecting the Chromie Temporal Loop. Chromie abusing that, knowing that Lucio was not here. The mind control does miss. That's a big pickup for Artemis there. Absolutely huge pickup, because now they have the 5v4. Tychus is alive and well, and they just need a Zerg wave in that bot lane to try and help finish off this game.
Alright, we do get 32% Zerg wave picked up before the top lane can be taken back by Rexar.
Is under attack.
Yeah, this is, I don't see any way that Cool Cats and Kittens can interrupt this channel. Artemis kind of knows that, and so they're pushing with the 5-man to make sure that they can get as much of this keep down as possible with the 5-man. That will allow the Zerg wave to have even more impact. Top lane's continually going to be pushing, and they just got to sit here and be like, hey, come deal with us, because we've got minions pushing in the top lane, and they've already gotten us 58% of the core. Who's to say they can't get us the remaining 48? But these 3 siege minions are going to have to be dealt with. Rexar is going to have to go back and deal with them. And here he goes on his way back to go clear the minions. Zerg wave is popped. Here comes the army out of the bot lane. And this is potentially very potential game ending for the side of Artemis.
And the thing is, though, Rexar did have to go back, so it is a position of 5 versus 4. If Tahaka comes down, he is not down yet. They can show up at any point.
High five landed first. Dirts of Hatred coming out. The second temporal loop does land. Lucio absolutely exploded by the Zerg wave, and Mephisto going down as well. Sylvanas getting herself into a safe situation from a sticky situation, but look at the death timers. This is a huge play coming out of Artemis. This is potentially game. They were able to get the Mephisto with the second temporal loop. Lucio tried to get aggressive to knock everybody back, but Variant said, "Nuh-uh, I'm taunting you." Another pick onto the Sylvanas. Zerg wave is plenty here. Big red button being popped, and that will be the reverse sweep coming in from Artemis. GG's coming out from both of these teams. Well played by all for sure, and holy cow, that was an exciting series.
Oh my god! I.
Yeah, I mean, look at the damage Mephisto put out in that game. But unfortunately, every time he went in, Chromie said, R button, you're coming back here after you teleport back, and now we're going to kill you. So Mephisto, Chromie just using that counter potential, great advantage. Unfortunately, in that 10 to 20 range, it wasn't getting as much value because Lucio had the high five available to be able to prevent the temporal loop. But post 20, Lucio could get one, but couldn't get the other one.
It is astounding to me just how every single game that we played in this series just went on eternally, it felt like. And very, very often I finish a game and I'm like, you know what, that could have gone the other way. This is possibly the most could have gone the other way series I've ever seen. Because every single match came down to a fight that decided it. And this last game, this third game, that fight that decided it, I feel like went on for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it looked like both these teams were just so antsy to pick that last fight. Neither team wanted to commit for a solid. They were doing a dance for a solid 3 or 4 minutes there. And then finally, Artemis was able to find the play that they needed to be able to get this game snowballing and find that final kill. They lost the Tychus, which seemed like it was pretty devastating, but Chromie found a way to pick off the Mephisto. Mephisto getting a little aggressive, not knowing that, or not realizing that Lucio wasn't there and Chromie was. And Chromie was able to pull that Mephisto back, even it out, and now it's a 5v4 power play in the other direction. Gotta love when all these things get that absolutely insane from these teams. I'm trying to see if we can get an interview with our victors here. Seven's showing up offline, so I'm gonna try and message honestly instead. They got so many assistant captains on that team.
Well, it also very well may be because over here on the East Coast we're approaching 2 a.m. So they might just be like, "Yeah, we're going to bed."
I wouldn't blame them. It's Division C West, so hopefully they're on the West Coast where, even then it's pretty late. But honestly is the one that says he will meet us in the interview room. So let's hop up a couple channels real quick. It's going to be honestly giving us the interview. The Tank Diablo Extraordinaire coming in. I'll see you in lobby. Oh, no, he got in this lobby. Hello.
Yeah, I'm a caster too.
There we go. See? I was like, man, we got to move up a channel and everything. Now I get to be lazy. This is awesome. Welcome. Congratulations to Artemis for the reverse sweep. Honestly, how is everybody feeling?
Amazing. That was probably the most fun series that we've had thus far.
I mean, I know everybody here enjoyed it. I know me and Fujin both enjoyed it. Fujin, I mean, you can go ahead and take the reins on this one.
My God. So yeah, we really enjoyed it, but it's one of those things that I'm sure it's super, super fun and interesting. And then when it's over, at the time, I'm glad that nobody had to call EMS in the middle of those matches.
Yeah, my heart's beating pretty good. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go to sleep here for a minute. It's getting kind of late, but I think bedtime's gonna be a little bit later.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. So going back to the beginning, did you guys expect in the Cursed Hollow map for the Lost Vikings to be insta-locked? They didn't get banned out from the side of Cool Cats and Kittens with the ban strategies in that game one.
No, we knew that they played Lost Vikings and that it was a possibility. Didn't necessarily think it would be a first lock, but we play some global heroes, and I think we were able to counter pretty well. So, Joe Tack plays the Vikings, so we have some practice, with and against them.
I did notice that in the chat, I forget who it was now, but someone said the Vikings were on the wrong team. Um, were you guys planning to run the Vikings if it didn't get snatched away as soon like at the first pick?
I, Vikings are such a strong hero on that map, so if they're gonna let us play them, then obviously we're gonna play them. Um, but that was me in chat that said they're playing for the wrong team.
Oh, okay. I mean, it feels like it was eons ago when that first broke out. I mean, we're sitting at 2 hours and 15 minutes right now. This series went all the way. Um, but game one, it looked like even though they got the Vikings, you guys were definitely on the gas pedal, having a very strong early and mid game, and then it kind of fell apart. What happened in that mid to late game where it seemed like Artemis was coming away with the 1-0 start and then suddenly it getting turned around?
I inted pretty hard. If we're gonna be honest, I got a little too far forward from the team. We were disengaging, and I saw a great opportunity to APOC and go in, but they were in a position to follow up, and I ended up just getting killed. And then I face checked a bush when I meant to fire stomp through the bush and paid for it with the game. So. Um, that's really, I think, what happened is a couple of untimely deaths gave them map control back, and then they were able to just kind of snowball it from there.
I will say that even though this was a bit of a misplay in the grand scheme of things, the 6 or 7 man APOC that you did have the chance to land was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Thank you. I mean, it always helps when there's more than 5 heroes on the field, so it gives me a better chance to hit some of those circles.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of those things where you're just like, as at me as a take man, you're like, oh man, that's so pretty. Unfortunately, nobody's able to follow up on it, so it's like it's so good, but it's gonna go all to waste there. But game one, like we said, it was going great, kind of fell apart. You guys go with first pick. They send us to Tomb of the Spider Queen. What was going on with the team to decide, okay, we got to bounce this one back? Because for how well game one was going for Artemis, game two started off really, really rough for you guys.
Yeah, we were pretty quiet after game one, just kind of recollecting ourselves. At the end of the first game, Seven started to lag pretty bad. He said he only had 1 frame per second,
Oof.
so really hard to heal
Yeah.
when you can't move. So we had that going. He, fully reset and then came back. And then when we found out we're going to Tomb, uh, just kind of strategized from there.
And so we come out on Tomb of the Spider Queen, uh, going with the Diablo again, but this time pairing it off with the Leoric to just make sure that no matter what happens with the APOC potential, now they're all confined to this small little space. Again, it seemed to go pretty rough, but then you guys found the fight around the mercenary camp in the bot lane. The aggressive invade by Cool Cats and Kittens did not pay off, and you were able to get the 4-0. So, how did you guys come together and turn that game around on its face and end up pulling out the 1-1 series?
I mean, that was kind of the turning point of the game where I think it was just after Web Weavers ended for them, and they had waves pushed in, and they went to our camp. We were even talents; they were ahead in levels, and we were pretty much saying we have to force a fight here. So they ended up getting the camp, but we were able to chunk them down pretty good. I was able to dive on the Stukov over the wall to finish that kill, and then I think we were able to turn and get the Garrosh, and then eventually get the Chromie, and gave us map control back plus turn, and we're able to really push it back out from there. But then, I mean, they came back, and it just came down to a critical fight there at the end, and we made the call to have Leo go back and clear, which ended up being the right call.
Hmm.
Um, with the Sonya going back and the remnants of the web weavers. So Yeah, it was exciting. I was on the edge of my seat because I was dead during that whole time. But the team definitely came through.
I do have to say, shout out to Jotak. Jotak definitely owned the off lane in that second game. I I think that was one of the more dominant lanes we've had this entire series. Both teams seemed incredibly well matched. And I think the off lane in game two is about the only time that one team decidedly actually won. Everything else was just being thrust back and forth and fought over the entire session.
Yeah, Joe Tech's really, really good at his role, and we all feel really confident with him over down there or up there in the solo lane, just wherever the solo lane happens to be. Um, but I think it's crazy for Aruno, who's their offlaner. Has played excellent. He's one of the things, or he's one of the players that we looked at going into the game as well. So really good matchup, and luckily Jotak was able to get the win off of it.
Absolutely. And then going into game three, so we've got a 1-1 series. Cool Cats and Kittens decide to go with the first pick. You guys choose the map and you send us to Braxis, of all places to end a series that has been so close. Did you think that Braxis was going to be, as it's notoriously known for, one of those very snowball maps, or were you predicting what ended up turning into a 30-minute Braxis holdout game?
I
Yep.
100% expected a 30-minute Braxis game. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, that has to be one of the longest Braxis holdout maps I think I've ever seen.
Don't sell short. It was 30 minutes and 48 seconds.
This
When
is
we have a
true.
record holder, we need to give it its full due.
It's true.
No, we knew they were pretty strong on Braxis. We're also pretty strong on Braxis, so we felt it would be a pretty good matchup for us, and um, it was a lot closer than I think we thought it would be. I think we're expecting control of the lanes a little bit more, especially with Rexar in the top,
Hmm.
being able to control the lane and the point. Um, Lots of back and forth fights, and really at the end we were able to turn, and Ash was really, really able to punish the Mephisto with the Chromie loops.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it looked like for the better part of like 4 or 5 minutes, both teams were very hesitant to pick any sort of fight, worrying about making that critical mistake with the death timers being so long and allowing the other team to punish and potentially end the game. What ultimately decided for your team that okay, we're gonna pick this fight and ultimately win this game?
Our camps, we got lucky, and our camps came up a little bit later than their camps did, so we were able to essentially free clear their camps while we were rotating back and forth between the points. And then by capping our camps, we knew that they were gonna have to rotate, and our comp is built off of a single target pick. It didn't quite work out that way. we
Hmm.
were, we were pushing the bottom keep, and then they engaged into us. The call was actually to disengage, but Mephisto went in, and we got the good loop on them, and then we just re-engaged, and were able to get three of them and come back and just finish the game from there with the Zerg wave.
Yeah, it was absolutely. You could see it like the Chromie temporal loop when she got it at 8. She was able to get a couple picks on the Mephisto, and then Lucio was able to get that high five to negate a lot of that from the 10 to 20. But then Chromie doubled down and said, "Aha! I've got a second one for you. High five the first. I'll get you on the second." And Chromie coming in big there in the that late game, getting that pick on Mephisto. So I mean, after all of that, 2 hours and whatever minutes that this whole series ended up taking for 3 games, who, honestly, in your opinion, would get the series MVP for this series?
I don't know if I can pick out a series MVP. Joe Tack in game two had really, really strong entombs that enabled us to win kind of at the end of the game. Ash at game three with the Chromie loops was able to enable us to take some advantageous fights and get some picks. Um, so I've really got to give it to the team. I did not play well tonight. and they really carried me in this one.
Awesome. Giving the shout out to the team. I mean, I completely know where you're coming from with the tank inting at times and having the team carry you to, a victory. I think you're selling yourself short just a little bit because there were definitely some great Diablo plays, especially in that game one. But finally, I'm gonna open up the floor. Unless Fujin, do you have any last questions you'd like to give?
I have one.
Okay.
So, uh, honestly, are you going to go back and clip that 7-man apocalypse from game one without including the second part where the what happened, and just include that in your highlight reel out of context? Because I
I
totally would.
absolutely will. Yes, that is that will play in my video before my stream starts.
Look at what I
Yeah.
have done.
Don't worry about what happened after that.
That's awesome. All right. Honestly, I'm going to open the floor up to you. Twitch chat was a plenty coming out for both sides. Any shout outs you'd like to give, go ahead and do so.
First, shout out to the team. I feel like we're really starting to play well and come into our own here as the season comes to a close. Cool Cats and Kittens are a great team. We knew this was going to be a really even matchup. So shout out to them, and best of luck. We'll probably face them somewhere in the playoffs, which we expect to be another really good series. Um, to our coach, who really helped us over the off season in Goon, and to you two, we really appreciate the cast and what you do to for the community and just to get everything out there.
Absolutely. Do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Fujin, any last words?
Only that this is the absolute best series that could have kept me up until 2 a.m. So thank you for making the time worth it.
Yeah, now you've got to go to bed. I don't know how you're going to go to bed, but now you got to go to bed.
Will say that I'm goth, so definitely night is not a unusual circumstance for me.
All right. Well, honestly, thank you so much for the interview. Definitely appreciate you stopping by. And congratulations again to Artemis on the reverse sweep, getting yourself in a much better position at, like you said, at the end of the season, getting ready for this playoff run.
Thank you so much, and I hope you both have a good night.
You too. All right. Well, how about that 2-hour plus series coming in? Fujin, I'm so glad you got to join me tonight. That was an absolute enjoyable series coming in at starting at 11:30 at night on the East Coast. I mean, I don't even know how. I'm probably just going to go switch over to Storm League and try and calm myself down that way or something because that was nutty.
That was insane. I There are still a lot of things I almost want to go back and rewatch. It was just the amount of patience being shown by both teams the entire series through. Like, this is why I always say that to play Heroes of the Storm, you need to be in a 5-stack to get the best experience. Because I guarantee you, in any Storm League game that's not a 5-stack, you would have had someone just losing their patience and be like, I'm gonna go kill them all.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely fun watching this competitive, organized, uh, skill coming out of these two teams playing to the level that they were playing at tonight, and to the point that you made at the end of the game too. Both teams definitely could have thrown the towel in game one and two, but finding ways to get themselves back into the game and then eventually winning those games uh, was just awesome to see. But for the series, sorry, I'm not going to keep everybody up too much longer since it is so late. Why don't you tell everybody, Fujin, where they can find you and what you've got coming up here in the future?
I am Fujin Akari. You can find me at Twitter /Fujin Akari, or Twitch at Twitch/Fujin Akari, or YouTube at Fujin Akari. I don't actually know the URL because YouTube is weird. But yeah, I do a lot of casting of Heroes of the Storm, as we said at the beginning of the broadcast. But that was a long time ago. I don't expect anyone to remember it.
Yeah.
I also do, during the day, cast random other games, mostly because I've got a friend that has eye problems. So all those like really good story-based games I just played through for her. But if you want to stop by, I'll be glad to talk to you without a 30-second delay. It's weird.
Yeah, that is the hardest part, trying to keep up with people with a 30-second delay. It's weird. But as for me, thank you all so much for coming out. I got a few last shout outs I got to give. Judo coming in with the cheer. I gave that shout out earlier. Absolutely appreciate it. Joey Wood, Red X Chi, and Yo Teach coming in with the follows. Thank you all so much for coming in, dropping the follows. I apologize. I always turn off notifications during the matches just because I don't want to draw away from these two teams that were battling it out and from the NGS competition. But I do recognize them, do want to give you guys a shout out. Hope you enjoy lots of HOTS action, because you're going to catch a lot of it here, especially in the later evenings when we get these West teams going up. That is it for me tonight. Going forward, I was talking about Fujin about this before the series started. There's a lot of games being picked up by the community, which is awesome to see, but that sadly means I don't get to pick up as much as I want. So I got a couple breaks coming up. I will throw out my schedule on my Twitch coming forward. I do have a couple games scattered here and there. I think the next one I have is on Monday night. I'll have to double check, but you can always come to my channel. My schedule is always thrown up there. You can look at it and see what's coming up. But as far as tonight, Fujin, you got any last words you'd like to throw out there?